Got the backbone, definitely. All right, thank you.
Park and Recreation Board for the City of Bel Air Beach is called to order. This is the July 11th meeting. First thing we need to address is the approval of the agenda. So I need,
Do you have a copy of the agenda for me?
yes, they're over here, I'm so sorry. They'll always be here.
Oh, I see.
Anybody else?
It's my first attendance, sorry about that.
No, you're good, you're good. We're sticking.
Sure.
So I need a motion from the floor to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
I second it.
That I need to make a note of. All right, so we also need the approval, as we are going through doing housekeeping. We need the approval of April 18th minutes first. We were not in office at that time. So, George, did you receive an email from Patty asking you to sign the minutes from April's meeting? No. Would you be willing to attest to the April meeting?
Can I look at it?
Absolutely. I'm gonna go, I don't blame you, So
My
how
house is gone,
about, so while you're looking at that, do you mind if I go on to the next set of minutes though?
go ahead,
Okay.
please do.
All right. So, trying to keep it moving along. Okay, so the next set of minutes is the June 6th meeting minutes, and we need to have them voted on and approved. Did everybody receive a copy of that
Yes.
by email?
Actually, they were in the book that Patty gave us over the
Okay,
last.
okay. There was one change in there that we made, and we made a vote on that, if everybody remembers that. It's in reference to getting the sponsorship. Let's see, I'm handing, do you have my copy?
Sponsorship policy.
Here it is, okay. It is right here where it says, the city staff, not the board, is responsible for solicitation of sponsors. That we made an amendment to that. And since then,
That's on the minutes?
yes.
Okay, not the ones that were in the book.
Yes.
That's okay.
I can show you this one if you
Yep.
like. This is the copy of the minutes from July the 11th.
I had a lot, didn't
Oh, no, wait a minute.
You should ever send you that?
That's today.
Okay. I want to let you review that because
June,
Hold on now.
you will be voting tonight. So I'll let you review that. Let's take some time and look through those minutes. How about yours?
there's no place for me to sign it.
On the top, you'll have to sign where you put a line through where it says secretary, and you'll have to, and put acting, I would say what, acting, how should you put acting?
He's fine,
Just sign it, we're good.
Number? Designated number?
Yeah,
Here, I can have you look at this copy. That's number 7.
Number 7.
thank you. And I will
It
put
was
those
regarding
over here for
discussion
Patty.
of donation levels for
Okay,
the Fall
for Fall
Festival.
Okay.
And so this was the thing that we were gonna amend.
Okay.
So we're looking at the verbiage and how you wanna amend that.
Right, it's the verbiage. Because what it is, and since then, we actually spoke about this, so I guess we kind of gotta readdress it again. It is the, how we voted on was the Park and Recreation Board will be responsible for getting donations, but what we should have said was the Park and Recreational Board would be responsible for getting donations, but the city employees were allowed to as well. Or something like that, because looking at Mr. Reeves's policy that him and I were looking at, it actually states, so I think we kind of got to revisit the vote, don't you, no, we're good? Okay. Okay. All right, so that's what, it just needs to have that addressed.
You're in
there.
agreement with it?
So what do you want me to say?
Okay, so that the Park and Recreation Board is responsible for getting the sponsors and donations for city events. The park events, I guess I want to say. City event, no, the city events would be better. All right, so is everybody good with that change?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're still good with that change? Because we did vote on it, so. I'll set my pen down. So what we're gonna do is, we'll sign these and get them done. I've already signed, I guess you already had me as approved, so you need to date and sign those. And those. Okay. Now the next thing that we need to address is the nomination and election of a vice chair. Oh,
So Alan has resigned.
if, the way the rule states is if someone misses 3 consecutive meetings, scheduled meetings, they forfeit their position.
Verbatim.
And that's in there. And I notified the council, I notified the mayor, and the city clerk of his missing the 3 said meetings. That's my requirement. I'm required to do that. It says that in here, and I notified them of it in writing. So, that being said, then we will have a full position open, and we have a vice chair position open. So we.
Does Alan know about this?
Okay,
I mean,
in nowhere does it say in the.
we're all
here's-
neighbors.
I know. Well, here's the situation. I can't reach out to him, okay, until somebody officially gets put in his spot, because he's on the board. That's bridging. I can't do that, okay? So it's kind of a catch-22. He was given a copy of this agenda showing that this position was being voted on. He was given that, because I saw it in an email that the city clerk sent out. So he does know that the vice chair is being voted on. So my guess is he will reach out to the city to inquire about it, is what he will do.
So that pretty much prevents any snowbirds or part-time residents from being on this committee.
Yeah, they can
I
be.
mean, we used to have, 6 months meetings or 4-month meetings.
I know.
And he would be able to make some of them.
Well, it might be a little definition there, because what this says is any board member who misses 3 unexcused consecutive regular meetings. So if there were a snowbird, it might be reasonable to say, well, I'm going to be gone, I'm going to miss the next few meetings, but lack of communication, just not showing up is a different thing.
Well,
I don't know that would preclude a snowbird from.
that's not true. Okay, I'm gonna explain something to you. Alan told the board at the April meeting that he was leaving, and he's done that every year. He has done that, so technically speaking, he has notified the board. And the board has not had a problem with that. So, you need to make sure, I don't have any issue with whatever you do. But the previous board allowed him to do that, or the members. So-
Well, he announced he was
Yes, he did.
not going to be here at a certain date and wouldn't be back to a certain date
Right.
in the spring, and
Yeah.
everybody said, okay, fine.
So if the board let that go, that would be an excused absence if they were willing to operate that way, right?
What is this
It
position?
doesn't, it's not
Vice
reflected
chair.
in the minutes
Of what?
that they approved it.
Of the
It wasn't
park.
voted on and approved.
Oh.
So if she can't make a meeting, the vice chair steps up.
Are we interested in part-time members? I mean, snowbirds, they're not really part of the community. It's
They're
not
here
their homestead.
part-time, and the thing of it is if we want to start getting events going and
Yeah.
rolling in the city and starting being an involved park board, we actually have we have to kind of take a hard line
Yeah.
on this, is what
Yeah.
we got to do. I mean, I have nothing against the guy, I've never even met him. I sat in a meeting where he was here, but I've never met him.
Yeah.
So, it is a tough situation. I can't reach out to him, okay? I'm not allowed to reach out to him. Once this goes down, I can reach out to him, and I'm well within the guidelines, I'm allowed to reach out to him, and I have no problem with contacting him afterwards. But before then, I couldn't do anything.
Well,
But he
no,
was given a copy of the agenda, and I would think that if he was checking his email, he would have, if he was concerned about it, I would think he would have reached out to the city by now to question it.
Well, I would think though, in the interest of kindness and reasonableness, that maybe the city manager can reach out and find out. If that has been the policy, and I don't know how long he's been on and he's been allowed to do that and he's functioned, I think it'd be a little harsh just to kick him
For me.
off without some type of
He was chairman
notification.
before Robert Samples was chairman. So he's been on the committee for a pretty long time.
Let's just send
He
a
may say,
registered letter
no
if
problem.
he's still interested in participating.
Or we can take a vote on it. Well, we could call him.
Call him now.
We could call him now. Do you have his number?
The rule is very specific, it's not a shall, it's not a may, it's a shall, and
It's a
it's 3 consecutive ones, so you conceivably could miss 2 and fly down here, even if you are a snowbird.
Yeah.
To spend that money. And having served on this board in the past, I mean, it was not a very active board because there wasn't a lot going on, so they only
Yeah.
met a couple times a year and you could get away with this kind of thing. Now you guys are meeting like twice a month, you're a very active board, and
We have a more
I mean, you
active
do what you
community.
want. I'm not gonna interfere with it, but it's very clear the language in there.
I take the verbiage of shall,
three
is
as well.
is a directive.
Yeah, well, it is. Shall is a directive
Shall
in legal terms.
is a directive,
And the
so.
community has changed, it's more stable now, and there's.
Also, I think of being in the
But
position of
that being
vice
said-
chair, that's different. Like if you were just, a member, participating member, for the
Right.
vice chair, that's also.
Yeah, it's an important
diff-
position,
yeah.
so.
Well, and there's something to say you can't reapply as a
Right.
alternate,
Sure.
or a board member again when he comes back. I
Good
mean,
point.
there's something to say he can't do that, cause,
Well, we won't
he's
hurt his
welcome to do
feelings,
that
so,
just like
yeah,
everybody
this is
else.
3.
But once this is done
He's
too,
not interested.
I think it would be nice if we send him a thank you letter from this
Yeah.
board. I think that would be a very nice thing for us to do.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing, let me point out, you're not, the park board isn't part of our city charter, that's ordinance. So if you need that changed, we can change that at any time on council if you get, the regular process. Somebody has to propose it, one of the council members, not me, but one of the council members. I mean, I can ask that it be put on the agenda, but a council member would have to propose, you'd have to have a second, there'd be a discussion. And if you want to change that or clarify that, which maybe isn't such a bad idea, because when I looked at that, when you brought that to my attention and you said an excused absence, to me an excused absence is like if 2 of you are out tonight negotiating with the beer distributor to get something, that's an excused absence.
Right.
You're at the Tampa Bay Rays game, that's not an excused absence, that's just like you took the night off, And I mean, so that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And, and we're under a tougher rule because under council, we have 3 absences in a 12-month roll. Okay, so you actually have 3 in a row. You could conceivably, and I wouldn't keep anybody on the board who did this, but that's your choice. You could miss 2, be there 1, miss 2, be there 1. I mean, you could really attend a quarter of the meetings if you want.
But I think realizing the character of our community though, I mean, there's just nothing that says that he couldn't, if he wants to stay in his position, he could be sitting here listening on a conference call. I mean, there's
That's
nothing that precludes, I just think it's rather harsh to say, because I don't know the man if he walked in here.
I met him
And say, well, we're kicking you off the board, yes, because you met the definition.
Well, and
'Cause he may
kicking
well
is a
think
harsh
he's a member.
word. He forfeits. That's what the verbiage says, he forfeits.
But he's been allowed in the past to do this. So I think we at least owe the man the courtesy of a call.
In the past also, he probably didn't miss 3 in a row
But-
because they were spaced so far apart.
Right, but
True.
that being said,
6
I had
months
a
apart, he
conversation with
might
the
have
city
missed 1 in a
clerk.
row.
Right.
But we've been very active
Yeah.
in this last, we're setting meetings every month, every 3 weeks sometime. And I'm sure he didn't know what was going on.
Since everything has changed, I think a call is in order. And
I think so too.
Communication.
It may be, oh, you mean calling him?
You have to do that now, you can't do that privately. 'cause
Yeah, I
that's
can't do
sunshine.
that privately. It has to be done at this board meeting. So does anybody have his phone number?
I think we should call him.
Well, I think you would have to get that ahead.
Can we send a letter?
Okay, but see, here's the thing, I had a conversation with the city clerk, who had a conversation with you, who had a conversation with the city attorney, who said that they didn't wanna step into this. So, Yeah, because
It's a
I can't
volunteer
reach out
position,
to, I
right?
can't reach out to him.
It's a
They
volunteer
didn't want to send
position?
information to him about it, that
Well, we can't either.
I sent an email,
It's
okay?
not just you, we can't
Stating
either.
the statutes.
Oh, you did send it?
Oh, yeah, I
Oh.
sent a statement to the city,
And there's, to the city, not to the.
and to the city, and they have to relay to him, because I'm not allowed to. You know how you get those emails? They have to come through the city clerk.
see.
I can't reach out to you directly.
But we're assuming that the city reached out to him.
No,
We're finding out
I
the city.
think you're, you know, whatever you do is what you do, and we'll contact Alan and tell him, but, you know, what I was asked, and I will tell you just
Okay,
my opinion,
okay.
he's been allowed to go north for the summer every year. And to my knowledge, he's never missed a meeting since I've been here, when we've had meetings. And the requirement at the time was, in the code, is 3 meetings a year. That's the minimum.
It still says that.
You know,
Not consecutive, just 3 meetings.
No, 3 meetings,
Per
the
year.
board will have a minimum of 3 meetings.
Vote on minimum.
It says that.
Yes.
And, you know, this came up with, you know, June sent an email to the clerk and said he's forfeited his thing, or sent it to someone. Okay, sent it to the mayor
And the clerk.
and the clerk and said he's forfeited his thing.
And please
That's-
forward it to all the council members.
And Patty probably did that, I don't know if she did or not.
She did.
Okay, so,
I got a copy of it. Go ahead.
you know, it's just, that's what's been done, and, you know, if you want him, don't want him to participate when he comes back, hey, do what you wanna do. You know, there's difference of opinion by, you know, and, you know, I don't think the city staff should be getting in to something that is kind of
Controversial.
controversial
I
with,
understand, but on the other hand, we are not allowed to reach out to him
no,
personally.
I understand.
So
that.
when
So
she
you
sent
just-
him the agenda, he saw it, and that should have been a flag for him to contact the city and to try to find out what was going on.
Yeah, I don't.
Because his name was on the email, and it showed that his position was being voted on. It was in the agenda, and he saw, I have a copy of the email where she sent it to him as well.
Doesn't say Alan Miss on here.
She sent it to his email.
No, I'm
But
saying,
the nomination and election of vice chair, he.
okay,
Okay,
I
so
understand.
then he knows that's his position, he knows it's being voted on. That would have been a flag to me to question
But that doesn't say you're kicking him off
it.
the board. That's what it doesn't say.
No,
it
it
doesn't
doesn't
say
say,
that.
but I did submit a letter, so if that wasn't forwarded by the city, that's not my position. Yes,
Yeah, why don't you table this until he comes back for him? And maybe we, in the meantime, just an idea and throw it out there. Because we have some snowbirds that wanna be on this committee, why don't we just make something in the ordinance that snowbirds can be a member of this board when they're here? We understand they leave the city, just so that people feel included. And the main body of the group has to be full-time residents or something, but we still want to include you as in the group. I don't know how to get around it, I agree with that.
I agree with that,
Here-
except you
He's
you
been
just
on
say
this committee
you
for-
probably won't be able to be an elected official if you're a snowbird, but you can be
and
a part-timer on the.
how can we operate,
board.
if you had a business,
I understand that.
if you had a business and you depended on your assistant manager to be there in case something happens to you and you're the manager,
I'm just trying to prevent.
and they're only there part-time, how can you do that business?
Well,
If something were to happen to me, you see what I'm saying here? And it's nothing against him because there's always spots open. There'll still be a couple alternate spots. He can come back, reapply, get back on the board. The problem is I gotta have quorums. Okay, my main board members, there's a rule in here governing them. So if they are here, I can have quorums to function as a board. If they're not here, and my alternate is not able to make it, then I can't function. Now, the day that I tried to come to my first meeting, we didn't have a quorum.
True.
Had he been in town, I would've had a quorum. And there's nothing against this guy, because I heard he's a
Well, that's-
terrific guy.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
why, that's
And
why
it's
we-
nothing about that, it's just about what we were told to do. The council directed us to do what this says, directs us to do if he is not here, shall. That's a directive. In any shape or form, and if you look it up in the dictionary, it's a directive.
It's not a decision of the board or the council, it's a shall forfeit, he's forfeited the position, unless there's a legal interpretation different, and that is plain English, so the
Yeah.
one we heard.
We don't even have to vote on it.
interpretation.
It's
So
an automatic.
There's not, I mean, you know,
The
you can
only-
change the ordinance, but, Marv is here, so I don't totally agree with everything he said, and he and I can't start discussing it, because
Right.
that would be a sunshine thing, so I'll just leave it that you need to bring it to the council if you wanna change it, but you can't unilaterally change an ordinance, because
Right.
you can't, if that's been passed by the
So it's
council.
not our feelings, it's not our decision, that's the,
Exactly,
That's a
that's
lot.
why I did it, because it says, I shall.
yeah.
I
Let's clear
shall.
about that, that's a legal term.
It's a directive, it's a directive.
Yeah.
I shall, I
It's
did
our
what I was
decision we're
supposed to
making,
do.
That's the rule.
I would clarify
That
though,
gets us off the hook.
for the future, since we're gonna have a new attorney in 2 weeks, and we have to clarify a lot of laws and fix a lot of mess that's on our books.
You know that.
Yes, we're gonna just make a note that you wanna clarify, because you have to decide what an excused absence is. Please don't bring it to council. I mean, it's up to you guys what you wanna excuse and not excuse.
Right.
And,
Okay,
you know, if you're
but-
asking me, it's not an excused
But
absence.
then we'll have to
when
bring
you're not
it to
here.
council to do, who would rework the ordinance?
The
You-
attorney.
The attorney,
Yeah,
so
new
we will, we'll meet with the attorney.
No, what'll
No.
happen is you'll submit it, and it'll come to me, and I'll give your comments to the attorney, and he'll rewrite the ordinance, then I'll take it to city council.
Okay, so that's.
Can she
how-
submit it to you, or does it have to go through one of the council members?
No,
She can go directly, okay, so second, the Tuesday before every meeting is the deadline for having anything on the agenda. So that would be your agenda, but this time, like, we'll be getting the new
Yeah.
attorney in, so you
Yeah,
might want.
yeah, no, it's.
You might want to let and there's nobody else in jeopardy here, so just wait till the next council meeting.
Well,
in
in some
September.
recommendations, I say at our regular meeting, maybe I'll put it on our agenda so we discuss some recommendations for the ordinance so we can give it to the city manager to address this. How about that? We'll put it on our agenda for the next regular meeting.
And you folks can take it out if you want. I mean, you know, again, you can recommend that it be taken out. It's up to council ultimately what they want to do with it. But if you take that out, I will just say this, I better not say anything.
Okay.
Just
Right.
consider the long-term effects of this. There's other boards in the city, and let's just leave it at that, okay?
Okay. So, so that it's a shall. So we actually have to abide by what it says at this point.
I
It's a
totally
shall.
disagree with that, you can do, but if someone wants to make a motion, I'll either vote for it or vote against it, but in a community like this, I don't see the danger in making sure that he understands in deference to his humanity and the fact he's been a good member, serving member of this board, and he's been allowed to do this. We don't say in here, there's no reason why he can't be a functioning member. I've been on a lot of boards where people are traveling, they don't attend the board meeting, and the phone sits in the middle. Are we disallowing him from being a voting and participating member via technology?
Well, the problem is
I mean,
the state attorney actually frowns against having the phone like that. They do with all boards and council meetings, they do, the state attorney, okay? Doesn't
Okay.
recommend that, so they totally frown against it, so.
I mean, I don't know who could make the call. I guess Lynn, my suggestion would be someone call him and just say, do you understand that, you know, in view of the fact that you're not able to make the meetings, would you be willing to step down? You understand you are have in effect step down as the vice chair? Are you okay with that? So the board needs people present for us to move on.
I don't think
But what if he says
Vice
he's not
chair is-
okay with
chair is
that,
the
then what? What if he
issue.
says, no, I don't want to do
And
it?
I,
And he doesn't come back for 3
He's being
months.
kicked off the board, not the vice chair position. So that goes along, since he is the vice chair,
Right.
that goes along with it. But it doesn't say if the vice chair doesn't come to 3 consecutive meetings, it says any member.
Any member, right?
So, and that's what
He's
is
being
a little
removed as a
confusing.
member. And once you're removed as a member, you're no longer a board member though. You're no longer a chair, you're no longer a vice chair, you're no longer,
I think they can select another vice chair, and then that's a moot point at this point.
To do what? To what?
I would think you could select another vice chair
Or not.
Okay.
and just resolve the other issue as soon as we can. But that's up to you guys. But what I'm hearing is you're,
I kind of agree with Rick that there's probably a better way to do it than just,
Well, and again, that's why it was sent out ahead of time, so he was notified, so he could try to be here at this meeting, he could reach out to us. I did do my part, what I was directed to do in the ordinances, and I followed it to the letter, okay? So I did my job, okay? You know, if the city didn't wanna reach out to him, I don't know what to say, I can't do it because of the Florida Sunshine Law.
we understand.
So, I did my job, that's it.
Right. Doesn't affect our ability to do business. I would, we have plenty of voting members here. I say we move on with business and hold that.
I mean, what do we need a vice chair for? It's a voluntary position, right?
Well, the vice chairs, in case something should happen to me, they would step into my shoes, basically.
Right, or you're
So-
absent for one reason or another.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Yeah, well,
We have
Does that
enough
happen?
emergencies, so.
Huh?
We have enough members here to make decisions.
So what, in the meantime, since he's vice chair, he's not here,
Right.
if something happened, you can't make a meeting or whatever, who steps into your shoes?
He was supposed to step into my shoes.
right, if we're postponing that, then I'd be the next elected, which would be the secretary, I would
Right.
think. And if she
That's-
said,
they
well, why
haven't
don't you
done
do
that
it, Rick, then I'll
before.
do it. I don't think
Yeah,
they have
so.
done that.
Right.
Yeah,
They did it with me the first meeting that we
Yeah.
didn't have a quorum,
yeah, George was here,
acting
yeah.
chair.
I know I'm gonna regret this, but I don't care, because I'm always the bearer of the bad news in this city. Give me his number, and I'll call him. There's no Sunshine Act violation. I'll thank him as the mayor, I'll tell him what the
Yeah.
situation is, and I'll see where he stands. Give me his number.
Thank you.
And-
I think
And
that's
then
a fair-
the city's not doing it, and I don't really care if people think I'm the bad guy. I'm not gonna say you're out, I'm just gonna say, here's what the rule says, how do you wanna handle this?
That's actually a very nice
Thanks.
gesture.
absolutely, that's the right
Thank
thing
you,
to do.
thank you.
And then he's, you know, if
And
he's,
either way, I think he deserves.
and I'll explain the
it. I
situation,
think
that this is
he
an
does.
active board now, so how do you?
Yeah, good communications.
Yeah, you wanna fly in, you can fly in,
Yeah.
we'll, you know, we'll work with you, but, you know.
Unintended consequences can be
Right.
bad.
Right.
Whether or not you're, so it says it, but, I mean, you know, we're not getting ready to invade the beaches of Normandy either.
Closed.
Yeah, maybe.
If somebody has, I hope you guys have everybody's number, so somebody should have his
Yeah.
number, so.
Okay.
Get it to me as soon as possible, and I'll give him a call, and then you can decide whether you have an open position or not. He may
Okay,
say,
so-
I don't wanna do it anymore.
So how it stands now, so we can reflect this in the minutes, that Mayor Menzel's gonna reach out to him and find out what his status is, I guess, would be the simplest way to put it in there. What his status is
Yeah.
about attending meetings. And then we will revisit this at the next
Sure.
board meeting. We'll put it back on the agenda. Either way, we still have to have it on the agenda to discuss it.
Well, if he resigns, or he tells me, okay, if that's fine, I'm off, you know, it's okay with me, I'll just let Lynn know, and we'll just have this an open position. I'm gonna let Lynn know in an email,
Yeah.
whatever the result of that thing is. I'll do that call from my law office, you can listen in, you can't say a word. You can listen though if you want, but don't say a word, not to me, not to him. You can listen if that's what you like. In fact, you could be on the other phone in the other room listening in, but you can't talk, you know?
Right.
Better if you don't do either of that, just let me speak
Yeah,
with
no,
them, and I'm gonna be
I don't
absolutely the
wanna be
nicest I
around.
could possibly be. I'm not gonna say, hey, you're fired, here's the situation, I got a letter, you know, we don't wanna see you go, but how do we handle this, because they're meeting every single month, and you can't really, you know, this rule was written with people not missing
Well, and
meetings.
it's not that we don't want his help, because he's a
I'm gonna
long-term,
let them know that.
was it 5 years, I think hasn't he been with this board for 5 years?
At least.
Maybe longer.
So
I've been
he
here
deserves
4,
the
and then
utmost
Robert was
respect.
before.
That's what I've been saying.
He
Yeah,
deserves
well,
the utmost
thank you,
respect
Mayor.
because
You got it.
he's
Thanks, no
given
problem.
5 years.
Somebody get me his telephone
I
number,
was
and
caught
I'll do it.
between a rock and a hard place because of the law.
Okay, email me, thanks, I'll get right out to him, not tomorrow, got state attorney general call tomorrow.
It's a little more.
Okay, all
But
right,
it's on the city.
okay. So, that being said,
And we have a
after
call
speaking to, the next thing
tomorrow.
on the
Oh, after that
thing is
one,
the
right.
discussion of our regular scheduled meetings.
Sorry.
Yeah.
After speaking to the city clerk, and trying to give a board report to the city council. We discussed it, and she thought it would be better if we moved our meetings to the first Thursday of every month at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
First Thursday, not the last Thursday.
Right, correct.
Okay.
Because I have to
Starting in
be in
August.
their agenda packet, and they have to have time to create whatever to put into the agenda packet, then they have to get it out to council, and they have a time restriction on when they have to have all that in place. And here's the thing, other thing, if we need something, the nice thing about having it in the first Thursday, should they have a special meeting in between the councils and we need something approved, we can get on that agenda as well. So that buys us some more time within the month to get on their special meeting if we need to get something approved.
I'll make
Get
a
on.
motion, we move the regular meetings to the first Thursday of the month at 1700.
I have a question. I thought we already did this.
No, we had it in
Didn't we
there.
get,
The time we did, the 1700 time, but not the first Thursday.
Well, she sent out an
But
email.
Patty sent out some
She sent
emails
out
saying,
email.
how would you feel about changing it to the
But
first
I
Thursday?
never,
And
I never
said,
got a response
"Fine."
back on that, so that's why I'm asking. She didn't send me back a
Okay,
response.
because I know I responded and said yes.
I responded and said yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
So,
All right,
You have
well,
to be
let's-
official here.
All right,
So
so
I second that motion.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
all approve? So, all right, so the next thing, all right. So we discussed at the city council, all the events, and I don't know if any of you got to watch the city council meeting by any chance?
I was gone, but.
Okay,
You
they
addressed them, right?
Yes, we did. And they were very impressed with our board, and kudos to you all. And before I go any further, the mayor wanted to make a statement, so I told him I would allow him a minute of our time.
Mayor was real impressed with it when he went out on July 4th and picked this up out of the driveway, and you got the banner headline, and you deserve every bit of it. I was very impressed. I think the rest of the council, and we have another council member here, and I know he was too. I heard nothing but good. There was one council member who was questioning a lot, and every one of those questions were well received by your chairman here and well answered. You got our support unanimously. I think you're going to make this city real proud. We're already getting reached out to by another publication that wants to talk to us about this thing. This is going to be incredible. This is going to be the best event that this city has seen. I think, as Wayne said, not just in recent time, probably ever, okay? They used to do a city fest, and that was many years ago. So you're bringing that whole idea back, and this is going to be really good for the city. I applaud you. You have my total support, and I think, again, I speak just for me, but I think the council is behind you. So whatever you need, we're behind you. We'll help, and let us know. But you're doing a fabulous job. So I just wanted to tell you thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that being said, they approved our events, the ones that we agreed upon that were in the minutes, reflected in the minutes. So they approved our events. They also approved working with the city manager and the city attorney to create the legal documents we need to move forward, including the sponsorship forms, paper. And these are she's writing, so here's hers. Pass it out if you would, my copy. These are the sponsorship form that the city manager worked very hard on, by the way, and all I got to do was critique it a little bit, so he actually did the majority, so I wanted to make sure I give credit where credit is due. But these guys our board needs copies.
Well, there's blank page pieces, so
Uh-uh.
I'm separating the ones that have writing on them.
Okay, yeah, here, so we can recycle all together. Okay, so this is the sponsorship form that the city manager and I talked about and went over and worked up. These are the levels that you would get. The only thing that's not on here and that we will readdress is putting on here, all checks need to be made payable to the city of Bel Air Beach. I think that needs to be on there. And but this is what you would take if you were going to a business to try to get a
Okay,
sponsorship.
great.
This is the actual form. Once they've agreed to sponsor, there's another step, but we're still working on it, that, another form, and I'm just gonna kind of show it up, but not show it because there's some things on that we shouldn't be showing. But it's just gonna be a sponsorship agreement, okay?
Great.
And the city managers actually worked very hard on this, by the way, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
wanna definitely say thank you. And then he has worked on the sponsorship policy. We've kind of gone over some things.
Great, okay.
That actually, neither of these last two things though can be submitted yet because there's some bugs that have to be worked out. You know, it was just a rough draft he gave me of those things. So, once those are worked out and then the city attorney reviews it, then it'll be
Great.
submitted to you all. But
Okay.
as it stands now, this is the sponsorship form. Now, this board needs to take a look at it and see if they're good with this. If they're, think that this would work for us.
At our last meeting, it seemed like we had some discussion about $100 sponsorship, and I don't remember how the conversation went too far on that, but can anybody help me out why we decided not to do that?
I think it was discussed because it was going to be too low for too much work. I think that was the comment that was made, too low for too much work. I actually was one of the ones that was interested in the $100 sponsorship being in there, but the comment was made, too much work for too little money, so. But that doesn't say that you can't do the tables. We're still gonna do the table sponsorship, which is gonna be a separate thing, if you want to be a vendor, it's a different situation. It's not you're paying to have a table to display your merchandise or whatever.
Lynn, you did a lot of work on this, if you looked at in other cities, are these numbers similar to what, now I know in Roxbury it's different, they have large commercial businesses and things of that nature, but these sound a little low to me.
Well, they are, but we don't have any businesses, we don't have.
No, but we would
any-
be taking them to
Yeah,
businesses.
but-
looking-
I don't think you wanna go attack, this is the first time.
Right.
So you gotta be, it's kinda like baby steps.
Yeah,
So-
okay, I understand, yeah.
Yeah, cause as an example, where I used
Maybe
to
in a
work,
year
I
we
had
revise it or something.
$5,000 sponsorships.
Yeah,
And other municipalities do. I've actually already looked at some of those. They are
They're
quite
big,
higher.
depending on what the event was, but,
as a starting.
we're in.
Yeah, because the sponsors
Okay.
don't know what they're gonna get. This is
Yeah.
the first time, it's like a sale of it's a tepid water.
It's
It's a-
infancy,
Yeah.
really.
They're gonna be
Introduction.
looking at how many people
What kind
they're
of
gonna be
sponsor we get.
exposed to too. I mean, that's what they're
Okay.
there for.
Looks good.
Yeah, because if you have an event and 75 people show up, then
Yeah,
Sponsors lose
sponsors
money.
are not gonna be happy with
right.
it,
That's why I thought,
I
throw in
might
a low
suggest,
end
that you
sponsors.
do have that low level of sponsorship, you might not get a lot for it, but $100 is $100, it buys a lot of hot dogs and sodas, and
Yeah.
throw it, because you don't know how many, like, I'm with Lynn, you don't know how many people you're gonna get this time.
Yeah.
I mean, if this thing's really wildly successful, it's a nice hook to get them in, and then next time it's like, we don't have the $100 sponsorship anymore, it's $250 or whatever, but for
Right.
this first shot, and if you're gonna use this form in
Yeah.
other events, like Truck or Treat or the Christmas thing, $100 is actually a lot of money to sponsor
Yeah.
that, because those are very limited events,
Yeah.
very, very limited, so you might, I don't know what your purpose was, if this was just for the festival, or if it's gonna be for everything, but you might wanna
so
consider.
you
a
can
little lower.
modify it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would turn nothing down,
It
I
was
would
a
take
start.
it all.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well,
On the
so,
subject of money, I was talking to very good friends, some of you may know Roger and Debbie Mall, who live right
Yeah.
over here. Debbie was on this board, they're very, very good friends of ours, we're in Colorado with them. But anyway, I was discussing with her that we were gonna start trying to do this festival and all. And she said, oh, that's interesting, she said, because when I was on the board, there was an account called the Bel Air Beach Civic Association account. Is that, anyone remember that? She said there should be money in there,
Well,
like $1,200 to $1,500. money that should be in there left over from that defunct association.
Yeah, there used to be a Bella Beach Civic Association, it was a 501c3.
Yeah,
And it did a lot of things. They charged the residents, what was it, $10 or something a year?
$10
Did
a
they?
year.
Yeah, and then they took that money, plus they did some other things, like,
okay.
they did our, let's see, 50? Yeah, they did our 50-year celebration.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, Debbie's the one I had the contact with, so, but I haven't got to the root of where the money's at.
Okay. She said you need to bring that up because there's money, you know Debbie, there's money in that account. I know there's money in that account.
So I haven't got to the root of who
Yeah.
has that money.
Yeah, that's the thing, finding out
That
who
would be
has the
nice.
money, and if
That
it
would
was
help
kept
us.
active or not,
Yeah.
and can that be reactive?
Reactive. yeah.
Because if it can be reactive,
Then we have a lot more leeway, if we could
How many-
all, do our things.
Do you know how many years it's not been used?
Oh, probably 15 maybe?
15,
Oh, at least more.
I just found this out personally because our state changed the way vendors have to account to them and used to use your social security number, then they wanted a federal ID number. I had one for my business, I hadn't used it in 15 years. The IRS started scrapping them if you didn't use them in several years. So the number that you had for that might be scrapped with the IRS. So if you got old paperwork, you might want to give a call to the IRS first, find out if the number is still good, because even if you have the money, you still may not have viable, you just have to get it, I mean, it takes 5 minutes to get a new
Well-
number, but you have to get that new
And
number.
that being said too, the officers that were on there are required to fill out a, report to the state every year, I mean.
15
no,
years ago.
no, it's to the IRS actually.
Yeah.
And so,
Something to look at.
you don't, you don't know,
Mark?
Jan Fletcher, that was on the variance committee.
Okay.
Her mother was a historian, a Bella Beach historian. She lives at 103 21st Street.
yeah, they used to be very active. They had
Jan just got told about
dances,
the
and
committee.
cocktail hours, and
Yeah, there's a lot more latitude with
Three.
a 501c3, so if, we wouldn't be as restricted if we were going to them or using
Yeah.
that as a tool to put on events, so
That money should still be someplace.
I will check
It's finding.
with Jan.
Yeah.
You could get me the contact information for Jan, I would be happy to reach out to her to try to
Well,
find out.
The city clerk should have it, I don't have her number.
Okay,
I
okay,
used
I
We
wrote
have
it
her
down,
address, right, we have her address, you can.
yeah,
write it down.
So if there's a bank account
103
somewhere
21st
and
Street.
right, that's what it is, yeah,
well, there's the rumor there is, that's what I've been,
It's a rumor.
I haven't been told that there's any money in it or anything, I just heard hear the rumor. And
right, but
that was
it,
from
There's
Debbie,
This is Debbie, yeah.
yeah,
because at one time she evidently said she was part of it, but,
right,
She was.
but not anymore.
okay. All right, well, maybe you could work on it, I will work on it, of course, we can't bridge, so we'll just bring it back to here.
Yeah.
Or we find out, or if you find out something, you can contact him even.
Yeah, I
The
Right.
city manager, you can do that, and I will do the same, so,
Yeah, Deb's, aren't they in Colorado?
They are in Colorado, we were with them all last week.
Yeah.
that sounds like fun. All right, so anyhow, we got the approval of the events, which is a great thing. The forms, they approved us to work on the forms, and then we have to actually take the forms back in front of the council. The sponsorship one, if you're allowing the city manager and I to just, what we wanna do is eliminate it on there where it says that they could have the,
I took that off,
oh, okay, the one I have says that.
does it?
Yeah.
I thought I got them all.
Which
The
one?
website, there's a.
Yeah, we were gonna put the page views
All
on
right,
the
I grabbed up
website.
the old one, you're right, I'm sorry. Anyhow, so if everybody's okay with it, we'll just add, of course, checks need to be made payable to the city of Bella Beach at the bottom, and we'll submit this back in front of the board, the council, I mean, if everybody's good with that, is everybody?
Were we gonna revisit the prices, you still wanna keep them at 250,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
500,000, or you wanna change
I
them,
would,
decrease them?
here's the only thing I wanted to address with you, you talked in the policy, if we do this and we add $100, that you're only gonna change the figures once a year in the city's policy, the amount.
When we,
Just say be
If-
updated once a year or something like that. Don't-
Right,
don't
but-
say-
but-
no, I'm not,
When-
I'm talking about that, that's not the policy, that has nothing.
No, it's a separate entity, but the thing I was wanting to say was if we put $100 here and the next event we don't want $100, so if we somehow put in the policy that maybe
Can be modified.
modified, I think would be a good thing to do, and that would cover us. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I don't think, I just put in there that for every fiscal year, before that, we would create that document or
Review it,
something
yeah.
and adjust it from there.
Okay,
But
okay.
that's really that's not really part of the policy.
Right,
The policy is.
it's a
just
separate
right.
thing, it's basically a little book, is what it is, that he's been working on.
And if you don't feel the value is, of 100 is adequate, make it 125, it's half of 250, just kick in a little extra. Whoever's gonna pay 100 will pay 125. Then you're doing 1,500, 250, 125.
I agree,
Mhm.
that sounds
Yeah,
good. What is everybody in agreement with that?
That's a good suggestion, I like it.
Yeah, and then just, of course, we just need to kind of go by what we would be allowing them. If they're only gonna give 125, obviously we can't give them what the other people are getting,
Right.
because then everybody's just gonna give 125. So,
Right, true.
so what do we want to cut down for a 125 spot?
Handshake from Marv. Handshake from Marv for 125.
Maybe get rid of the booth space?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good idea,
Get
everything
rid
but
of
the
the-
booth space.
Right, so like-
Perfect.
yeah,
That's
all right,
what I'll do.
all right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's still.
It's just clutter.
They still get recognized, but they don't get, yeah, I
Okay,
think that's a
that's
good starting
perfect.
There's
point.
no personal
Yeah.
contact.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay.
Now you've got a
Alright.
gold, silver, bronze, you have to figure out another medal, I guess.
Pink.
Pink? I like tin.
Gold, silver, bronze,
Yeah.
and
Brown,
iron.
brown,
We'll just come up with something for the top and slide them down.
yeah.
How about
that-
copper? It's
yeah,
like a shiny color.
You'll go platinum, gold, silver, bronze.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
Platinum,
you
gold,
go.
silver, bronze.
yeah.
Okay, so,
Two questions here. There was a good suggestion, I think it was Lynn's, he had about, giving website access, but as I was looking at the other thing, there's definitely a concern here, which some of it might be legal, some of it might not be, that's what we kind of have to hash out, is how much, you can get anybody to sponsor this thing, okay? And it might be people you like, and it might not be people you like at all. So I mentioned to June last night, I said, maybe you should take out the website thing, because, if some detestable group says, yeah, we're sponsoring you, and we want to be on your website, you just offered that. It's a great idea, maybe just use it discretionary and stuff, but, the less sometimes you try to exclude people, you'll be fine, because we've went to how many events in how many cities and you don't have these groups. But if you put out a big list and say, we don't want the following groups, they're gonna come. They're gonna
Right.
use you as a
Right,
test.
right.
And then if you exclude them, God forbid, you're in trouble. So I just said, maybe see where it goes, because you don't wanna have, some horrible hate group or something on the website. But,
Right.
if they buy a booth, they get a booth, it's hard to exclude, you get into the whole First Amendment thing of what they can and can't do. But I did suggest something that you might want to consider, which is your rules of conduct at the event. So in other words, you got your booth, that's fine, you can have your booth.
Yeah.
You can't be running up and down the aisles, you can't be handing out papers, that doesn't go with your solicitation thing.
Yeah.
So it confines you to your booth, because, some of these booths are,
Sure.
I think the PETA people do a good job, but you go to their booths, they're pretty graphic, and little kids may go, they're screaming, it's horrible graphics on some of these things. Maybe you don't want people walking around handing that kind of stuff out. I don't think you want to have people handing anything out because it's intrusive to the people. But you in your booth, if somebody stops, hey, that's what it's there for, it's for education.
yeah, and I think that would be should be on the
Yeah.
user agreement, the sponsorship agreement. I think that would be a good one for on there, don't you think?
All sponsors need to be
You know.
approved by the city council.
No, because you see, we're in,
No,
and I'm just saying this, it's a hate group. If the neo-Nazis want to take a thing,
Right.
I can't say no to it. I don't ascribe to their views at all, but if they
Sure.
say, I'm buying it, it's like, I can't stop you from being
I see
here.
what you're saying.
I can stop you though from going up and down the
Yeah,
aisle
right.
and, you know,
Yeah,
and
there's
harassing
conflicts
people.
listed
Probably-
on here, there's, you know, the payment,
Yeah.
but
Rules
what
of
we should,
conduct.
we can put the rules of conduct on there, would that be?
Yeah.
We'll add that to this
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
You can control their time, place, and manner, but,
the
you know,
sponsorship agreement, it's called.
in observation, we've been to how many events in how many cities? None of these groups are ever there, okay? So again, I think as long as we don't say, we don't
We
want
keep
you,
a low
they will
profile
come
with
here.
everything.
But if you tell them you don't want them,
Then you
they
make an
are
issue.
gonna come here, you know? So just say,
Then
yeah,
they're
you're
gonna
all welcome.
protest.
They won't come here,
Yeah.
they, you know, I don't think they will.
Makes sense.
But if they do,
Rules of
they're
conduct.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're not gonna come. They're not gonna come.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so everything was approved, okay? Now let's move on to the discussion of the fall festival. Okay, when we last spoke, you were going to meet with Kyle about the parking, did you? were you-
I did not, I left, but I did do a couple of the other things, but I did not meet with him about parking,
Oh, okay,
so I'll have to do that. I will
Okay.
do that.
okay.
Yeah.
And
I
I've
did reach out to
actually
the Coast Guard.
okay,
I haven't heard back from them, but I've got the right person and have requested, since the date was changed, from the 21st to the 28th, I reflected that and let them know that we're hoping that they can bring a boat on a trailer and a truck, and, you know, so
okay,
they can display there. I also am in the process of getting a list of vendors that we use at Calvary Episcopal Church, but I think that bears a little bit of further discussion. Do we really feel we want vendors on something like this? I mean, this gets to be pretty big, and we have to determine who we want to have, you know, the festival period is kind of over
right,
now. This is when, and a lot of them don't like coming to a one-day event, particularly for something as short as we are. So I think as a board, if we want to have 2 or 3, we need to really determine what kind we want. Are people really going to come and spend money? Or do we want to make this more of a social interaction type thing? Is a booth really in the vein of what we're trying to accomplish on this one?
well,
I don't know.
What's your
more
experience?
social.
You've had a lot of experience in
Yeah.
this arena. What have you
Oh.
found from your church
Well-
events, that sort of thing?
well, here's the situation. We have talked about trying to keep it localized. In other words, we're trying to
Yeah.
stay, maintain within a small space. We're not spreading out into the parking lot this time. Next time, of course, I'm hoping to branch out into here.
Yeah.
We probably would have all the food vehicles and all that, everything would be up in this area on the next event. So, you know, if we could find, I am looking for an ice cream vendor. I'm definitely
Okay.
looking for either an ice cream vendor or snow cone vendor or something like that. So I am looking for that.
No, I have a really good idea on.
And we're
Okay.
looking to get the
Paper about the two
neighborhood.
girls.
I've checked
Get
into
to know
Polar
each other, right?
Ice, I actually have a 2-page list of all these different vendors that I'm going to look to. Rita's Ice, I've used them before for swim meets for the school board, and they're very good, they come out,
Rick, to your
and we get a
point,
percentage of
the
it.
purpose of this
Kona
is
Ice does it.
to bring the community together so we get to know each other.
Right.
That's the main purpose, right? So
Yeah.
it's more of a social event
Right,
than a
that's kind of
commercial
what
event.
that I'm
Yeah,
thinking,
to bring the
yeah.
Right.
neighborhood to get to
Yeah, I
know
don't
each
know,
other.
people are gonna come
Yeah.
prepared to spend money and
Yeah.
buying little things.
No, it's more about just
Supposed to-
getting to know each other, having fun, dunk the mayor, you know, see if you can throw.
Well,
Yeah,
the-
that,
ice
there
cream,
will be a
ice
cost
cream.
for that, there will be a cost for that.
Of course.
Yeah, no,
So-
don't think,
Yeah.
we are trying to use that as a
Yeah,
fundraiser.
that would be a cost of that, of course,
Yeah.
yeah. You can't do that for free.
And you know, there's a million choices, we all go to Arts and Crafts Fair, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's a bazillion different people there.
Right.
Does someone know of one that maybe they would want to invite, or
Well, I've used-
limitations on space, do we want to do
Rita's
that
Ice
another
I've used in
time?
the past, and what they do is they actually bring a cart.
I know, yeah, I know,
And,
they
and
bring,
it's, you know, it has all the, you know, several different flavors in there, and we actually get a percentage of that money
Okay.
from their sales.
right,
So it is actually a fundraiser for us as well, where vendors usually just pay you a fee
that's right,
and they come in.
yep,
So I'm hoping that the board will allow me the latitude to see which one would make us more money.
okay.
My thinking was, originally we were thinking about that having maybe someone from Bel Air Beach who enjoys sewing on the side, or maybe has an Etsy
Oh,
promotion or
I
something,
know,
and have them, like if they wanna promote their arts or whatever, cause they live in the community,
Right.
and they wanna maybe sell some of the things that they make,
Yeah.
that'd be great to have
Yes.
Like
them, cause they're part of the
watercolors,
community.
oil, because like in Indian Rocks Beach in restaurants, you see paintings, and it's for sale, so.
For local-
so
from a local artist. From
yeah.
not necessarily commercial, but someone like
Yeah,
a neighbor
right.
that you
And
know
then-
likes to
That
make
we can do
And it
things.
helps bring people
That's what
together
I thought.
socially, yeah.
I mean, do you know anybody
it's
locally
good.
that enjoys art or crafts or?
Yeah,
likes
we
to-
do have,
you
we have
know
someone in the
like-
community, and
Yeah.
actually, the garden
They
club,
make some money.
the garden club, part of
Well-
the garden club sells
Well, look
these
at Dave
little
Gaddis with
necklaces
photography.
things. They sell this little
Yeah.
necklaces things, and I'm actually gonna reach out to the garden club, because we want to have the garden club here for that anyhow.
I
So
thought
it'd
they
be
were,
exciting to show their,
Involved.
you know,
Yeah.
their
There's quite a few
artistry and their
photography
hobbies
enthusiasts in
and
the
show it to the
community.
community.
What dates are we talking about, by the way, because this
It's
is my
the
first,
28th of September,
just one day.
one day.
Yes,
And what can we-
yes,
what-
yes.
What did we decide on for times? I know we,
3 to 7 was
3
it?
to
3 to
7.
7, okay.
sunsets at
Vendors,
7:30.
vendors will
that
need
day.
to be here no later than 2:30, but if, it's depending on what time they need, how much of a time frame they need to set up.
Do-
Anybody who's,
Do the vendors expect a certain amount of time to be exposed to the public?
They really, my experience with it has been they like a minimum of 6 hours.
So they're not gonna get 6 hours, that's what I was
They're
wondering.
not- But that doesn't mean they won't come, particularly I like the idea of appealing to our own community. Who are the artisans out there that might like to come? I
So we
think
need
that
to
would be
reach out
great.
to anybody who are our neighbors who enjoy doing that, to invite them,
Yeah.
please show, if you wanna, you know,
Yeah.
make a little
Yeah.
money
Yeah.
and show off your abilities, I think
Yeah.
that'd be great,
Yeah.
and people would love
Even
to
children.
participate,
How
yeah.
would we
yeah,
go about
I think it's great, yeah.
How do we go about getting that word out to see?
Spread the word
That is
to your
our
neighbors.
well, not only that, but it is our responsibility to get the word out. We can, he actually has a pretty extensive email list, and the mayor's agreed to send, to us to create an email,
That'd be great.
okay?
I've been very quiet since the election, only because I've been really busy. But I'm gonna start blasting out again, telling
Good.
the citizens, because there's a lot of misinformation that people like to put out. So we're gonna put the real information out, that's the good stuff that our council has been doing, and like this example here, because not everybody reads that B, so we're gonna be putting that information out. I will put out one for you, and I don't wanna say, I'm gonna say just, it's coming from me, but the Park and Recreation Board invites you to the first, thing, and it's coming, say the date, and by the way, if you want, whoever your contact's gonna be, if you want to get vendor space, contact whomever's in charge, whatever numbers you want to give me or
That'd be
emails,
great.
or you
Okay.
wanna do it. I wanted to say one thing, I was not clear, when you're talking vendor, are you talking a vendor who's actually selling something, or a vendor who's just displaying information?
Okay,
So-
vendors can be, when you look at the classification for a vendor, it can be either or.
Okay,
So what I guess we need to be saying paying,
I'm thinking back to
because
October.
the sheriff coming is a vendor, believe it or not. He's classified as a vendor. He's setting up a table, he's setting up a whatever, the fire department is
Blood
classified as
pressures
a.
and that sort of thing,
Yeah,
that's
that they're
healthcare
set,
sort of
right,
thing.
right, but they are classified as a vendor, so
If you think back to.
paying vendors was,
If
I
you
guess,
think
what
back
we need.
to our, when we went to the Oktoberfest at Indian Rocks, they had a small group of vendors, some people were selling, like somebody mentioned photography, they had handbags, they had bracelets, they had all kinds of crafts. Then you had other people that just were informational only, like funeral parlor and the real estate office and stuff like that. So they were just they weren't really selling anything that day, but they gave you information and come and join us and whatever, a free pen, and people love that kind of stuff. So you do what you want to, we're gonna support you, I think either way, I think the more the merrier. And remember, you all told us that this thing is gonna be self-sufficient, and this is your fundraiser, basically, that funds everything probably about the car show, so make as much money, I think, as you can,
And
get as
that's
many
the
people in as
thing.
you can, that's my philosophy, but.
Instead of spending money on hot dogs and things like that, why don't we just have, because it's a social event for people to get to know each other, every neighbor bring their own, like we do at your parties, and that way every neighbor expresses their personality through food. This is what I brought, what did you make? It stimulates
Because
conversation, and the food's free, or is there an ordinance against it, a health ordinance or something? Because it would just be food
Well,
from
the city does
the
a
community.
potluck
Yeah, we
Now,
do
once-
a meet and greet twice a year.
twice a year
Yeah,
now.
so we do that anyway.
Yeah, now we're doing that, yes,
Oh,
the
okay.
city is doing that
Okay.
twice a
Do
year.
we want to incorporate that in the fall festival? I think that'd be a nice way to get neighbors to get to know each other, and then you save money on not buying junk food.
Well, actually, I have a sponsor who's supposed to be paying
Oh,
for
okay,
that,
okay,
so,
okay.
so what we will be paying for basically is,
The
maybe
paper
some,
plates.
maybe some paper goods, okay?
We get all that from the Dollar Tree.
And actually, and we might even be having, we might even have that covered as well. Again, I finally got the sponsor thing, so.
But do we also want to include, allow for residents to bring food too, for their neighbors?
How does that go? Is that, are we, because that's gonna be outside, it's gonna be warm, I'd be a little leery.
I don't think
It's
it's a
food
good idea.
poisoning, see, we're
Yeah,
keeping it to
right,
chips,
right.
hot dogs,
Right,
drinks,
there's always that line.
and a little
Yeah.
pre-packed cookie,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
whatever
People
vendor
are happy
comes
to
in.
have
People
them
get sick,
cook or
yeah.
bring something.
Right.
Just kind of show
Yeah,
up and
right.
have a hot dog, kids will be happy, we'll socialize.
Yeah, there'll be
and-
health consequences to
Yeah.
incorporate.
Yeah, because when we're in, when we're inside and
Sure.
doing those potlucks, I mean, it's air conditioning
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
And there's
right.
refrigeration, we're not gonna have
What do
that.
we do in the potlucks? When is that? Or have we?
Did it, let's see, November and,
Did one in
That's a good time to do that.
February, I think
Late
it was
Thanksgiving
right during
time.
the election, I remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
Can we get the dates up on the marquee out here
yeah,
Yeah,
as soon as possible?
depends on the space.
We've been filling it with meetings.
yeah.
Because I think that if they could see Fall Festival, they're gonna start asking questions. 'Cause
Well, it's been in
Yeah.
the paper, we need
Well,
another thing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, and word of mouth, everybody,
Maybe
word
a
of mouth.
month.
Okay.
Yes,
Before I forget, because you mentioned Rita's Ice and other things, Kawa Coffee or whatever they're called over here, they have an antique vehicle, they brought it to the race and stuff like that, I mean, they're gonna pay you for a spot. They make great, all those coffees, and that's not something you're gonna be doing as part of this, so you might wanna reach out to them, because
Yeah.
they do that, and they bring it's an antique, you'll know, I like it, there's an antique vehicle, but they make like cold drinks, they make hot drinks, they make, like cappuccinos and frappuccinos.
Doesn't
In
and
their,
that
in
be
their
right, yeah.
vehicle?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
it's really, and it's a really old thing, and they'll drive that right here.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if they'll do it for, if they'll do it for a day, but they're right here, so.
I
they-
think-
Right on West
Well,
Street.
Yeah, they are,
well,
and it's really
it
good.
wouldn't cost
At the
us,
race.
they're making a profit, it wouldn't cost us, but
You charge them
Would
a
there be
we
an
space.
charge him
expectation
a
that they-
space. And that,
charge
and
them a
we,
space or
yeah, so what we
represent.
could do is reach out to them, find out, and then,
That'd
we'll
be
all
great.
discuss a price, I guess, for that,
Have we established that anywhere, what the price is for a place?
Well,
We're not talking
and-
about a sponsorship, we're just talking about someone like that comes.
That's,
have a
that's the
price?
thing, that's the thing we need to discuss, we can discuss it now, we can discuss it if we get them, if we do the redesign,
That's the first
we get a
question I'd ask if I
percentage.
owned Cabo.
Yeah.
How much is it gonna cost me to come? I'd love to come, but how much? I think we need
Yeah.
to address that.
$50, you think?
I
50?
think 50 is very reasonable.
Charge them $50?
And everything
Yeah.
else is a profit?
It's a good deal. They make that with 3 coffees.
I
They're like
know, but
$8 a coffee.
We can't
No, I know,
we can't
it's,
stagger from that, because if
Yeah.
Rita's Ice does, we charge them a $50 fee, then, we have to charge the same price for both.
the other thing you could do with
Yeah,
someone like
research
that,
that.
and Marv has a question, that you could charge them like 50 and say they have to give you X amount of gift certificates, which you could use as your door prizes for your car shows and your
Yeah.
That's
Santa
great.
Claus thing, you could use them for,
That's
some time to time, because that doesn't
They
cost
can
them
get
as much.
profit.
Now they're giving you a gift
Right.
certificate, it costs them
That's
$1 to make
awesome.
that coffee.
That's
Right,
a
to
great
make that
idea.
All right.
Yeah.
So cause they make a profit?
Big
they
time,
get
they're
to
still
get-
making money,
that's
yeah, but they can
awesome.
give you a bunch of gift certificates and it gets
that.
people.
And that brings customers to them too.
Exactly,
Right.
it's a win-win.
Right. And Rita's Ice usually brings coupons, for a free scoop of whatever if you go to their store. They usually bring those coupons when they bring their little cart. But
So we
yeah, I
charge,
checked with Polar Cup too, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. I did check with them, so.
so we charge like say Kiowa Coffee or any corporate company $50, but anyone like a local vendor, like someone, your neighbor who wants to sell her hats, handmade or whatever, we
Right.
charge her a minimal fee. She's a local, $25, does that sound reasonable or no? Or same, has to be the same run?
That's pretty.
Yeah, I think because the city gives discounts for residents, I think we are part of this city. I don't think we should be paying, they should have
So
to
it should
pay
be free?
50 to
So you have a
you.
commercial and a residential.
Yeah, so
rate.
maybe
Yeah.
25.
Right.
I think
Right,
that would be
that
fair.
part,
I think
right.
So
so.
just free for the
That's
residents.
fair.
I think you can make it free for.
You think so?
Can we afford it? We
No,
should
The,
afford
the
it.
first time anyway, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it
Well,
should be
the
free.
thing of it is are they gonna here's my other question, are they gonna bring their own table, are they gonna bring their own thing? I have to pay
Yeah.
Remember, I have
Right.
expenses, so I have to cover expenses. If
And
I
then
have
if
to
you
have
make a
Kyle,
pay, you get a
I have to have
commitment.
Kyle, because they didn't
Other
bring a
than-
table or they forgot to
Yeah.
come in and get a long table for them
Right,
out, then, you know,
To pay him
he
money.
Right.
deserves to be, you know, the city
Compensated.
deserves to be
sure,
compensated for
of
that.
course, yeah,
So
yeah.
even if we make it a nominal fee,
Yeah.
like if we have to do something like clean up after you or whatever, at least a $10-20 charge. In case, I mean, Valley
Sure.
Beach, people are usually pretty good about cleaning up after themselves, they're actually very good,
What
but,
kind of,
but,
what kind of
but-
charges?
no, okay. All right, so then again, there goes back to the fact that we need to charge a fee, so I would say half,
I think I said
Half.
50 and 25.
50 and 25.
Plus gift certificates, plus they give you
Okay.
a similar amount maybe in gift certificates or.
Just a thought before.
No,
I
yeah,
forget.
but the 25 is for the resident, we're talking about
Right, but you
residents.
can make them give you a product or something too, that you use in a future auction or something like that. Again,
We
it doesn't
can-
cost them as much.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, why not? See if we can't get an item
We
from
might
it,
need to
yeah,
consider a
Just
donation of an
one.
item that we could use as a
Trying to get.
door prize or something.
Right. okay.
I'm trying to ask Lynn
Yeah, everybody's
something
got their
over here.
garage
Just
full of
wonder
stuff.
What the thought would be, June.
Old record albums.
Lynn, what would your thought be if we had the person that does our shirts and hats, could they do something, would the residents be interested in any shirt with Beller Beach on it,
Yeah.
other than the logo we have here?
Take
Yeah, I
pre-orders, you
think that would be
mean?
an interest.
Pardon me?
Like, take a pre-order, you pay, prepaid order.
Prepaid order, or you order them if you want it, I don't know. just a
Most
thought.
ends.
I had my hats made at a friend of mine up in Wisconsin, I had about 10, 50 of them made, there's only 3 of us that have them. You know, we could do something like that, maybe something.
Well, the logo, I mean, the logo, yes, you can use the logo.
Well,
but
just the name Beller Beach.
The Beller Beach, I
Logo we
was gonna
shouldn't
say.
use because
Because
that,
of, right, you don't, right, exactly.
How about
The
if you
city of
have,
Bel Air
you know,
Beach.
a hat with Beller Beach or a shirt with Beller Beach.
well, how about if we have a
Well,
logo
Lynn,
Bel Air Beach,
what
but
about-
also have
Why can't the
2019
city
Fall
have them
Festival?
out there and the city do it as
So
a
that way,
Somebody
Do you
may
I
sell
want,
them
they
anyhow,
can
don't
wear it
you,
around
hats?
and advertise it.
Hats, yeah.
Yeah, so why can't the
Next
city
year,
have
I'll
them out
go
there
to
and do it as a
2020.
fundraiser that goes back
We
into
do
the
that
general fund?
Oktoberfest at Indian Rocks, they sell it every year.
Yeah.
With us, with every
Yeah.
once
And
in a
then
Put
the
the date
license
on it.
plate
like
tags,
city shirts.
Right.
maybe
And
There
those
isn't
as well.
anything like that says Beller Beach other than our
I'll tell you one
stuff,
thing
know,
that
and all
I
that.
mean, it's a separate, but,
That's what I'm saying.
you
That's a
know,
good
the
thing.
hammerheads on the street
But I
that
figured
sells
like
like,
some people
but
may,
they sell like,
because you go
signs
to
that say
Walgreens up
Clearwater
there, you
Beach.
see
You
and
never,
everything.
you never get Beller
Like,
Beach.
there's something up
Right.
with
Nothing
some
ever
artists,
says
and
Beller
they
Beach,
never
and
have
maybe
Beller
that would
Beach, and I
promote
get so upset, but I
community
guess some
interest.
artist
Yeah.
that does
We
those
have-
signs,
They never
hangs
have.
them on the wall,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can
We
have
did it at the
for
50s.
whoever it is, make
Remember?
those signs. I'm sure they're like
Were you
cost
here around
$60
the 50s?
No, I don't
at
think
least
so.
a piece. But I was thinking something along the lines like that.
I may have been.
We actually have a local artist that.
You're my age, you know.
That was in
I'd buy it,
2000.
because I can't find signs of Bel Air Beach, I'm not,
Yeah.
I was coming and going at that time yet.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing, I have found somebody who's agreed to make 2 of those cornholes for us, you know, the beanbag things. I
He
know.
didn't agree, you twisted his arm.
He's agreed to it, but I have to get some donations here of plywood. Has anybody got any spare plywood in their garage? They want to donate?
We might I'll have to ask,
Plywood?
Yes.
No,
I'll ask my husband.
no.
How much plywood do
I
you
think
need?
so.
I would think, what, one sheet would do, one full sheet of plywood, wouldn't it?
How
Clean
big?
up, of course.
You may think of a
What's a
big, big
cornhole?
cornhole game.
It's the beanbag
Oh,
toss thing that's on the
It has a
ground.
hole in it.
And here's the nice thing about it, once it's made, we
Yeah.
can use it for future events, people aren't gonna get hurt on it, it's something that is good to have if we even had
Yeah.
to, you know, bring it in during a potluck or something and let the kids do it so the parents can, you know, sit and visit or something, you know.
I actually
Oh,
have
nice.
some in my garage I'd be glad to bring over.
I have one too,
Okay.
I could bring, I could let you
I mean, I
borrow.
really do. I mean, it's not like the
They're not
great big ones.
ginormous.
They're about like this rather than the ones that are like
Right.
this big.
Right,
But I'm more than happy to bring those over
Okay.
and let
I
people
could
play.
bring one too.
I
okay.
actually,
Well,
That's
we
one of the
can't
things,
bridge,
you know,
but here's the
find a place to
thing,
store
but
it.
here's the thing. I can have Patty send you the address of where to drop it, okay? It's on 22nd, where you to drop off the wood. I can do that, I
Or
can
what
give it to
about-
Patty.
If we wanna go that way,
What if we wanna give.
Or I can
them-
actually give you the address now.
It's funny, I just threw away.
Just drop it.
wood
Is that
rock.
a bunch of
They
They got the
plywood?
beanbag thing, no, the
Oh,
beanbag thing,
okay,
like, kids were playing with play art.
Yeah,
Put the
I
reins
don't
and
actually
rods
have
and
his
everything
address
else,
with
I
me,
just
but
threw it
yeah.
out there.
He's right on 22nd, so, yeah, he's willing to make them for us.
What if we, oh, okay, so he's gonna make them, okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
And this kind of stays in this room. I have a local artist who's actually going to do the hand painting of them and put on there the city of Bel Air Beach for us and dress them up nice, so.
All you need is the wood.
Oh, nice.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so I have somebody making them and you're donating the wood and they're going to.
No, I was saying, I have the
label.
actual cornhole.
He has
So-
the thing going already, he already has it.
Yeah, okay, you got the actual
You
game.
would,
Oh.
you'd be willing to borrow, let them borrow it. But
Absolutely.
you want one for the town that we can have
Want
all
one
the
for the
time.
town.
So we can have all the time, but if you wanna bring them to an
Anyway, so
event,
people can play, sure.
yes, so
Yeah.
more the merrier. And the nice
Yep.
thing about that game,
Everyone
young
likes
and
it.
old plays it. Everybody plays it.
Yep.
So, I
Yep.
kinda got addicted once when I won a CD, so after that I like to play.
Our city manager found out something that was very interesting, right? We could put banners across Causeway Boulevard.
We could. Budweiser will sponsor that, if you can get, if you have that beer connection.
I
Cross-
actually just got
Gulf
a
Boulevard?
big
Causeway.
Causeway.
Oh, right
connection
here.
to the
Oh,
Bay
that'd be
Area
great.
distributor. I mean, like,
Did they ever
They
contact
had-
you?
Only the
No,
day
they
of.
did not.
Of Great Bay
No.
Distributing?
And guess who
Otherwise-
puts
I
the
just got
banners
the
up?
head honcho's contact
Mark.
information.
So,
Somebody was gonna make a call for us, she sent it to my
Kind
email
of.
Is that
just
their
before I
distributor?
left.
It's not Bay Area Distributors, it's another
Oh,
company.
Like they-
If you find
they-
it,
What's it called?
Bay Area.
Oh, it is?
Well, it's
Now I
Great-
got the head
Great Bay
honcho.
Distributing.
Great Bay, that Great Bay, I'm sorry, Great Bay.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
the
this
Sokol
is
African
different.
family that owns that one.
It's a beer distributor?
Yeah, yeah.
So great, what is it
June.
called?
Now, here's the deal, if we should sell beer,
It's Great Bay.
okay, we have to donate 30% of the profit by law to a charity. So once we receive the money, we will, as a board, vote where the money goes for
We
charity.
could
So
donate
is
to
it
a fire
different from the
department here, like
Bay
on
Area?
San
Because I remember she was kind of.
We could, we could.
She was
They-
and it was all bad.
June.
They serve up the community a lot, they're always coming over, and saving somebody from a heart
I
attack.
agree, one hand washes the other, I think it's,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
right down the road, and I see the fire trucks always.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that one
And
time
they'll
they
be
came
here
over
at
and
the
they
event.
unlocked, Carly's kids were locked in my
Oh,
son's
right.
bedroom.
Yeah.
By the time they came, we unlocked it, they wanted to chop it down, they said, no, we'd like to break things. But they're a nice group.
You, it sounds like you've done a lot checking into sponsors and things like that. But I guess I'm a nervous old man about trying to put dates on when we have to have certain things done and all of this stuff. And I'm starting, all the ideas we've talked about are great. And should we start putting some dates on how we have to have certain things done by a certain time? And so
And
we're not.
who's doing, because you're doing a lot of things.
I know, you're doing all
So
of
I'm
these
just kind of
now.
going, okay, June's doing all this, all that.
Well, she knows
So
what
why
she's
don't you
doing, we
delegate
don't.
some of your responsibilities,
difference.
one of us can
Right.
contact so-and-so or whatever,
Okay.
that way it's not all on you.
Okay, so, I will delegate. I like
Yeah, well, you
delegating,
guys just
trust me,
made a
I'm good at this. Would you reach out to the coffee company first?
Kava?
Kava?
Okay, all right.
Okay, and that's just over the bridge.
Yeah,
And then if, let's see. If you wanna try to reach out to Rita's Ice and see what you can find out.
Where's Rita's Ice located?
You can do it by phone. They're very good, they'll return your call. Rita's Ice. And then you're going to handle the parking. Now, here's the situation. If the Coast Guard doesn't get back to you, the
They will.
fire department will bring their little raft in with the motor.
Okay.
And they'll have it towed behind, they're totally good with doing that. So plan B is, they're already gonna be here actually. So if they don't get back to you, I
So they work
wouldn't
with the Marine
sweat.
Patrol and do that, you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're,
Just don't make them back it up.
you're just, they're learning, they have
Yeah,
some
we
new
did, that
people.
wasn't good.
Well, because it was kind of a drill that day, so they were actually
No, that was the real
letting them
deal.
get used to backing it in.
Was Marshall driving?
I don't know if anyone
No,
saw.
Marshall wasn't there,
Marshall
you're
wasn't
good,
there.
Marshall wasn't there.
I don't know if anyone saw the paper against Tampa Bay Times, I think it was in today's or it was in yesterday's, this thing about these two young ladies who started their own ice cream business. Did you see it? It's called the Honey Creamery,
I've seen it.
Creamery. And they make their own ice cream and they're two young, one's like 20 and the other's 22.
Two sisters.
and Two Sisters, and they've got this truck, and I'd like to reach out to them and see if they would be. I
Absolutely,
mean, how cool
small
would that be?
businesses just starting
Small, yeah.
out.
It's
So-
local?
Yeah, they're St. Pete.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm gonna-
yeah,
I may
yeah.
do that, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna find that paper.
That's great, I always like that, to give somebody a
Oh,
leg up.
absolutely.
Yeah, pay
But they're
forward
just
kind of
two
thing, yeah.
kids, and they've got this thing going, and I think that would be really neat, and good for
Okay.
their business in the
Okay.
long run, so.
Alright, yeah,
I'll
so,
reach out to them. I will get with Kyle on parking, and I think if by maybe early next week, we could get, or I'll write up something for Lynn to give to Mayor Menzo about something to put out through your email blast, because I think we really need to get something out there.
Yeah, we'll get one.
Just to get people thinking about it and saying,
Yeah.
if you are an
Planning
artisan,
that day.
if you're an artisan in the city of Bel Air Beach, we'd love to hear from
It
you.
takes time to
And
know
who would
for
you
them
direct
to
them
make
to?
it.
Who would be the point of
So-
contact?
That's
Come to a meeting.
Yeah, whoever you
They
have.
should come to a scheduled
Yeah,
meeting.
They can come to a meeting.
yeah, they can come to a meeting and talk
Yeah.
about your
Should ask.
your
What they wanna
products.
present, yeah.
Or to spread the word verbally, if you have a neighbor
Yeah.
who knows a neighbor, whatever, to say, you know, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, if you enjoy making or whatever, make a whole bunch of the stuff and bring it to
When's
sell.
our next city news go out? Is that, I think you just did one, right?
I
We-
did the
we could give this
hurricane one
festival
in
a-
June, so now-
A unique name. I was in St. Lucia just last week. And the bartender's had his T-shirt on. It's a Fête Bord la Mer, which is Creole for Festival by the Sea. We're by the sea, you know,
Oh,
instead of
that's
fall,
cool.
fall festival is a Midwest
Yeah.
thing with the leaves falling down.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a festival by the sea? But let's have Bel Air
Yeah, I
Beach
like
T-shirts
that.
printed up, different colors, pastel colors, like, that's a beautiful
I
color.
like the, yeah, it is nice.
Fête Bord la Mer. And people say, what's that mean, Bel Air Beach? Festival by the sea. It's Creole. And we're on the Gulf Coast. This is a Creole
idea.
area, the Caribbean and so forth. Let's make a festival by the sea. Let's not
That's
call it
nice.
Fall Festival,
We-
let's call it
but-
Festival by the
But
sea.
that being said,
Or Fall
we
Festival
have
by
to
the sea.
find sponsorship for those t-shirts.
Well, let's go to one of these T-shirt companies because then they'll want to, then they'll be in a spotlight that they print custom T-shirts. Because I wanted to buy one of those T-shirts and they said I couldn't buy it in St. Lucia because only the bartenders wear it, and so a lot of customers would like to go to T-shirt shops and have unique T-shirts made. So there's a lot of those T-shirt companies around here, but they could be one of our sponsors, and they would make
The other
themselves.
thing I mentioned
What
is.
about the company that prints all that stuff for Walgreens? They get Indian Rocks, B-shirts, T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think there's one on Gulf to Bay too, near the Clearwater High School. There's some T-shirt printing shop there, so we
Yeah.
can reach out to those companies.
Two things, you have an artist that we could approach.
We could approach her and see if she'd be willing to create it, and then,
But she can't be paid because
right,
I have
no,
a partnership interest in that, but this lady's an incredibly talented artist. And if she wants to paint something, that might go in really
Look on the
well.
back, Fête Bord la Mer, and in the front Bel Air Beach.
Yeah.
And in the year.
Yeah, and the other thing that you could do with that, I mentioned this to you once before, I did 7 New York marathons, and having met the director of the marathon, he got all his volunteers by giving away T-shirts. So instead of you guys shouldering the load for everybody, you give away that T-shirt, that commemorative T-shirt, volunteers T-shirt, and people will work all day for you for a T-shirt because they got that shirt now. So something to think about. I mean, I don't know what they're going to cost. That is an expense though. I mean, it costs when you start doing T-shirts, it starts getting expensive.
it does
so.
get expensive, and even though we can buy
You get a
50,
sponsor for the
50,
T-shirt company.
sometimes you can buy seconds of the 50/50s and get them for like $2 a piece, $3 a piece. And then just find somebody who's willing to do the actual logo stuff on it, but it's something we need, I don't have a problem working on that, if you want me to try to find, I've done a couple of them before. I've worked with Nostin's, Hit Products on Grinder, I've worked with them for some things, Hit Promotions, I mean. I've done things with them before, I could reach out to them if that's what you all want me to do, is try to find on the t-shirts and then we have the artist friend who, I sell her originals, so I will not be vending though, just so there's no conflict, I will not be vending, I sell art on the side, I will not be vending at this event.
Would that be a conflict if you're a resident?
I agree, it's not a conflict. If she wants to buy it, I don't know if she'll even do it. I threw the idea by her once and she said she wasn't gonna do it, so I'll work on her.
That's
I
awesome.
think you should do it.
I think it'd be a great
It's
thing to
Creole
do.
for,
Yeah, I
it's
like
part
that.
Spanish, part French.
People
part
are gonna wonder,
Chinook.
what does that mean?
Yeah,
But,
fête de
you know,
Bourgogne,
it's
I
French,
thought that's,
yeah.
because all t-shirts are always English, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard to find a t-shirt that has a foreign language, and this isn't really a foreign language, it's, you know, it's brought about from the pirates and
So
the
it's
slaves,
City
and it's
by
part of
the
our
Bay.
history.
Kinda cool.
It's part of our history.
So this is
It means festival by the sea.
festival by.
Fete is festival, bor, B-O-R,
Okay.
by,
Okay.
la mer, that's French, it's Creole, la mer.
You're gonna have to put the English on that though, someplace.
Well,
on
we
the
could
shirt.
probably, yeah,
On the back or
Yeah,
something.
that, Festival by the Sea, Bel Air Beach.
It's kinda cool.
People
though.
in Martinique and St. Lucia and St. Kitts,
Yeah.
they speak that language, you know.
Right.
And New Orleans too,
yeah,
it's Creole.
yeah, that's great, that's, I like it.
Creative, I like it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of a one of a kind, and now, if we do this, are we looking to the person who makes the t-shirts would, how do we wanna do that? Do we want them, we find somebody to sponsor the t-shirts and we sell them, or do we want to have them, do the t-shirts and they distribute them, or they sell them? I mean, how do we wanna do that? I can't make that.
Who makes a
decision.
profit, in other words?
Who makes the money off these
Yeah, it'd be
shirts?
hard for them, I mean, they're not gonna invest the money in printing them up and hoping to sell
Right.
Right.
them. Maybe they would have
Somebody's
them
gonna
for
have to do the
display.
initial outlay of it, of the money is what it is.
Who's gonna take the financial risk of printing it
Yeah,
and
I
selling?
mean, they may wanna have them on display. This isn't the perfect situation, but, you know, sign up, you pay, and they make the shirt and, I don't know, I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Well, what I
one
could do is,
evening,
if
people
you
could
all are
come by and pick 'em
okay
up,
with it,
but-
I will just run it by a few of these
Yeah.
distributors and see how we could work it.
Right, I think that's
You
good.
know-
Because it gives them exposure, you know, here they
Right.
are printing custom, so if you wanna print something else custom, you know, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
We did this for Bel Air Beach, we can do it for you, for your business, whatever.
There's one right up there by Ace Hardware, a little one in there next to the Spring Store, I think I had a couple shirts made in there, and they customize. And it's a small, family-owned little place there, just up West Bay, going east a
Right
little
next to
bit.
Hammerheads.
Yes,
Well, here's the other thing
Yes.
too, if you don't want them, don't mind them being a little bit cheaper, they can actually make up the iron-on ahead of time, we can pay for the initial, the
That's true.
iron-on, have a bunch of shirts, and then just print them up as you go. If you want a medium shirt, okay, I want a medium shirt, pull it
Oh.
out, make it, they're not that hard to.
No, I think
Just-
that's a better way, that's a good way.
If we can find
yeah.
a vendor maybe willing to do
Yeah.
that or
It has a-
something.
Well, there's a
that does
place
on it.
where all the tourists go, the Treasure, you know,
John's Pass.
John's Pass,
Yeah.
they do that, and they do a pretty good job.
Right,
You pick something that, hundreds of decals, you know, sharks and stuff, and
correct,
they do it right there. Yeah.
Jim?
yes,
Couple things, I've done this before for races, because I was race chair. It gets expensive. Silk screening is the way to go for the quality, the iron-on stuff comes off, it's like,
Okay.
they give me the boardwalk in New Jersey, it's just not so
Right.
good, they don't stay on as well.
Yeah.
And also, if you're using Lori, she's colorful and she's great, you pay by every color on the shirt, so you gotta
Yeah.
keep the colors down, because if she does, you know, this pastel thing of 1,000 colors, your cost is gonna be enormous for those shirts, so shirts can get expensive if you start
Right.
doing them, and
Right.
you mentioned something about seconds, like, it's one thing to give away a second to a volunteer or something like that, you can't sell seconds, you know, you just don't wanna do that, I mean,
Right.
people go home and they gotta pull it in. They're
oh,
gonna
no,
freak
no,
out,
no,
you
the
know.
seconds that I've dealt with historically,
It's like factory, it's
Yeah.
like TJ Maxx type stuff.
Stitch or
yeah.
something, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've
It's
actually
not
never
factory
found.
perfect, but it's.
Only
still-
thing I had was where it said the size, they just snipped it in half, so you knew it was a
Yeah.
second, that
What
was
Mr.
it.
Shock's point was, that place here is number one, and remember that little place that we went to that used to have all the fishing gear? They do that whole fishing line, they do all this custom, really cool fishing things, that's a family business, it's right next to the place that we went, you know, I got a shirt from them, they have Monkey, it's something Monkey or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
They have, that's
Totally.
family business too, they'll do
Yeah, and
that.
they actually
You got to
live
check.
down here somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was.
I got it, just we'll go in my closet and find a shirt. That might be the hard part, but it's there.
Oh, no, I know they are on Seminole Boulevard,
It's
but they're
Island Monkey
not
or
over-
something like that. It's
Yeah,
something like
Island
that,
Monkey
yeah.
or something like that, but they live on Indian Rocks Beach. They said they lived on
Yep.
Indian Rocks Beach, so.
Is silk screening actually cheaper than iron-on, or I think it'd be
I
more
don't know.
expensive?
I've never done
No,
iron-on.
it is,
Better quality.
it
Yeah.
is more expensive, so.
But you gotta set up the run and then you gotta go with it. And I mean, the problem with this is you don't know how many people you're gonna get, so if you have too many, then you'll never sell the thing, so I mean, this is, and it's
Yeah.
expensive, I mean, you'll,
Right,
Yeah,
right,
and
and,
people are ready
and even
to
though she'll
shell out
do the,
$25 for an iced tea, I mean, they're not.
They
there's
are,
a
they
setup
are.
charge, even though like she'll do the artwork, there's usually a setup charge
Yeah.
to set up the original screening, which is like $65-$75 just in that in
At
itself.
Oktoberfest in Indian
You
Rocks,
want me
they
to
sell
tell
a
you-
lot of shirts there. They
Do
do,
they?
they sell out in that thing. If you remember, that's, every year
Yeah.
they sell out in those shirts. You can't get them at the end, so,
And I
and they were
actually have
pretty
a call
reasonable
into
too.
their city
Yeah,
already.
I would check with them. They
I
were
already
very
have a
reasonable
call
in
into their
price.
city to.
Okay, and I'll check with this lady, right, I think it's a lady, because I've dealt with women there.
Okay.
I'll check on the place right up here on West Bay and see what they
Okay.
say.
All right.
And do we want a cotton t-shirt, real thin, or do we want polyester,
50-50 is usually
waterproof,
cheaper.
or? Okay,
Usually 50-50 you can get cheaper than you go 100% cotton.
It holds the screening better too, I think.
Plus the screening, yeah, it holds the screening better.
Back to timelines.
Okay, yeah, good. This is why I like this guy.
We did take kind of a left turn.
Okay,
Over the bridge.
So here's the deal. I think everybody that is agreed to do something should have their stuff together and bring it back at our regular board meeting the first Thursday. Have all your information.
our first Thursday is August 1st.
On the first Thursday of the month in August, which is
Right.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
it's,
have everything together by then. Okay, the
yeah,
cost, the contact person, any kind of contact information, okay? The time frame that they need in order, like when we need to get back to them by, in order to lock them in for the date.
What can I do?
Okay,
Would
so,
you like me to call or?
I'm gonna handle that one. If you could reach out to, I have the lady's card. She's with the county. And I'm really interested in this because, and this would be a free spot. Pinellas County though will do this, and they said they would. I spoke to her about it. But if they come in and they present different brochures on health things that are available to the citizens. And they have stuff for all age groups. And they just set up a table, they bring their own stuff. Let me see if I can find her. I have her in my purse, so it's on the outside pocket. But anyhow, if you could reach out to her, I actually spoke to her in person at one of the meetings we were at, and I told her that someone would be reaching out to her, and see if she could come in that date and bring it in, bring her stuff in, and then and she brings a table.
The date
And
of
attend if she-
the festival?
Yes.
Okay.
And, let's see, Corey just had it earlier. It's on the table. I will email it to Patty and ask Patty to forward to you.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay.
That'll cover me. But it's a lady with the county, and she's agreed, she says she's pretty sure that they can come, but we just need to reconfirm
What is
with her.
what are her dealings, or what is she?
Well, she brings in all kinds of brochures of all the different things that the county offers
perfect,
for all
okay.
our citizens. Okay,
Okay.
she's an information specialist,
Okay,
and so it's all the different services that the county offers for free.
okay,
Okay, that the taxpayers are already paying for,
okay,
so.
perfect.
Who made this Florida flag? It's awesome.
Captain T.J. Luger made
Yeah, I
that
have
for
her
the,
card. I probably
for
have
the
her
safe,
phone.
Captain Luger.
But I'm,
He's deep sea captain.
if I forward it to
Oh,
her,
okay.
it's on my.
Sounds like the visitor.
In his spare time.
No, it's not.
So
the
maybe he might want a
Congress.
booth, I would buy something like that. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
he
a lot
sells
of
We're at a
actually.
meeting, so if I send it to you from, when I'm at a meeting, I should be okay, right?
I don't know if he's in
Yeah.
that good health anymore.
Because we're at a meeting,
I don't
it's
know.
not Bridget.
He was having a rough time.
Doesn't seem to
It wasn't
me,
good.
but
Doesn't seem to me,
And reading
right?
He made one for one of our neighbors.
Okay. I'll tell you what,
But I don't
if
know
I
he's
bring
still,
up a card,
you
you
know,
can
actively
take
selling it.
a
I think.
snapshot
Reach
of
out to
mine.
him.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
okay, take a picture
I see
of
his
your,
son
of your
every once in a
phone.
while.
Right, of my
Okay.
card.
I don't, because I haven't seen.
Yeah, he
him.
was, I saw him during the
Okay,
election, that was it.
okay,
That was
I'll
the
reach
last
out
time
to her
I
and
saw
ask
him,
her.
so.
Yeah,
I haven't seen him since he made the presentation. Normally you see him
yeah,
roaming
I
around, but-
take pictures of all the
With his little
business
card.
cards instead of carrying around,
So-
we get a ton.
So by August 1st, everyone will come and present what they've gotten for information, whether yes or no, they will, they
Right.
will help us come, no, they
Well,
won't,
I'll
like
be
the
in
coffee.
Puerto Rico till August 3rd, but I'll communicate with you. I'll speak to Kava, I'll get all that information.
Well, you actually, you
Maybe
can't,
you talk to Lynn.
you,
Yeah,
or
No,
to Patty.
talk to each
Yeah,
other.
they can
Okay.
allow,
Yeah, we're
right?
not allowed to communicate with each other,
Oh,
that's the way the,
Okay. All right.
that's the way the law reads on
So
it.
what kind of
So Burke is
information would
doing
we
Kawa,
Kava.
you're doing which,
Rita's
He's
ice?
doing
Rita's Ice,
who? I'm sorry.
Rita Ice.
Rita's ice?
He's gonna
Okay.
ask, yeah,
All right. I'm
We're
gonna
just
do-
talking about having them,
you're doing the.
Come
we
on.
wanna
Just
see
recap.
which way they
I'm
wanna
getting with
do,
Kyle
they would do
tomorrow.
it, whether they would
I'm gonna
pay a
talk
fee, don't give them any price.
About
Or
the
would they
honey creamery,
give us part of the
right?
profit?
So
Do they
we-
still do that?
I'm
Cause
gonna
I
go to
haven't done
T-shirt
it
place
with
on
them
West
for,
And what's
And
the-
kind of
Probably
get an
7
idea of
years.
what they might recommend.
so they might change your
So
policy,
that-
but they bring a
And,
card in.
we just wanna know what the possibilities
Yeah,
are
that's what
with
you
them.
said, yeah.
Huh?
No numbers
Three things.
at this, see if they're interested in
Right,
what they would want.
right, exactly. What they need from us, what we need to give them
Okay?
is
And just
what
bring
you-
that information to the next meeting.
Right, exactly. And if
But
they
we've only-
have a copy of some kind of contract or anything we need to sign, give them an email, Patty's email or my email, it doesn't matter. And, well, actually gotta give it to Patty, and then she can print it out and we'll have it.
So if say they give you they give him a good price, or they say, yes, we'll do it for free and we're available that date, can he automatically book them, or does he have to call, would he call Lynn
Seems
and
like
ask
we
his
have to be-
permission just to book them?
Well, okay,
How does that work?
we do not have, here, again, let's make sure everybody's on the same page here. We do not have the authority to approve or disapprove something. All contracts, everything have to go to the city manager.
Okay,
So, but that's why I said if you could get a copy of the contract, we need a copy of a contract from them, even if they're not agreeing to do the event yet, just to have it looked over, okay, so we,
And that contract, if we, whatever paperwork we get from them, we'll have to go to Lynn.
would go to Lynn, and he would review it.
Or send it if I need to.
Let me ask you,
And
I
so
mean,
you can,
we've
they
talked
can
about,
send it by email to him,
we've talked a list of 3 things,
right.
1, 2, 3, 4 things. Is that all we had in mind? Those
Well,
4, or-
we have the fire truck is
I guess what I would like
already
to
booked.
see is a list
Okay,
of all the things, the fire truck,
Because
the,
you're working on a lot of things, all the
Coast Guard,
food issues, the ice,
all this,
all those
so
things,
we-
unless
well,
you're just gonna handle that.
it's in our agenda,
a lot of it's been
But I
taken
mean, who
care of
really is
already.
doing that?
it's already been booked.
well, that's what we don't,
Oh, okay.
We don't know.
The
We
fire
don't know.
truck's been booked, well, I hadn't gotten to that point yet. The
can
fire
you
truck
make a
is
list
booked.
of all these things?
Well,
A
if
spreadsheet
you
of
could
sort?
write, well, I can't send it to you, if you wanna just write it down.
Yeah,
The
fire
fire
truck.
truck is booked, the CERT team is booked.
What's a CERT team?
Sign the man up, we'll tell him.
Yeah, really, right?
Community emergency response.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a community emergency.
You're with more than half of the city right now.
Yeah.
So we
So
could
in
use
the-
more people.
we kinda
I guess
listed
what
on
I'm-
the last minutes, but we just don't
CERT.
have like, if,
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
assuming it's already
Oh,
accounted
see,
for.
he didn't get a copy the last minute, so.
Right.
Do we have?
Patty didn't send you a copy?
No.
I just
Okay,
got 2
well-
pages of it.
See,
This
this
is
is all
all- this is
connected
my
with my
first step.
agenda, that,
What she sent me is how do I get a hold of you
Okay.
and
it's
you
all
don't come to
connected
the
with, it was
meetings.
stapled
and-
together with the agenda.
At the last meeting, they gave us these books, and that's what.
Oh, okay.
explains all this
Yeah,
stuff
oh,
on
so
the
we will
sunshine
make
law.
sure that you
First
get a
one.
book. We will make sure you get a book, okay, I'll make sure. And in that book too, I'll go over some things with you about that book too as well.
Do you want this copy or welcome to, because I have it at home. Would you like this copy? It
is
gives
that
you a
what-
list of everything that we talked about the last meeting, all the things that we are gonna
But we haven't
account
checked
for.
them off yet, have we? I mean, these are just a list of possibilities, or they've already been checked off, yes, these people agreed, no, these
Well, that's a
people
good
agreed.
point, like the hot dogs, I mean, those, like we were talking about the budget, so we have a $1,500 budget for all these things. So you're asking if they've already been taken care of?
Well,
and we
yeah,
have to
I'd
look
like
at
to
that.
know what the list of
Yeah.
things we're trying to get,
What
and
does
what
it have
we've already
versus
made
hoping for?
contact to, and what.
Okay, well, as far as now we have we didn't have the money, okay, we didn't have the money, so now we have the ability to go get the money, okay, because we got the sponsor
Figures.
for, okay, that's been created, except for he needs to put on there yet,
Yeah.
that checks need to be made payable to the city. But so now we can go and collect the money we need to, or get the other vendors that we need to do. But as far as we have the fire truck already coming in, I've already got the fire truck booked, the Sunstar's booked, emergency management is booked. The Sunstar is bringing in a robot for the kids, to play with, okay?
You mean a drone?
13, no, it's a robot, it's a regular robot.
How do they relate to these categories? What you just been telling me, do they relate at all to these
No,
categories?
those are donated things.
Those
Those
are-
are government agencies for the most part.
These are government agencies.
So these are kind of in-kind or donate,
Right.
down here in the bottom, in-kind sponsors, is that?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah,
They are,
So we're, this is separate line of Rita's Ice and
yeah.
Right.
somebody else like that
right,
to come here.
right.
But, so then there's a list of what's been accomplished,
What's been accomplished, that's what I'm trying to go over, what's been accomplished so far,
okay.
okay?
And you were making the list for us?
Well, there's a list of the minutes and we talked about, all the things that we need for the event. So, and we need the budget, there's $1,500, so we, not that I know of that these are taken care of, but we'll go over that now if any of this stuff needs.
Right, no, they have not been taken care of
Okay.
because they aren't gonna be taken care of until we get some money. We can't go
But
out and
it's helpful
purchase
to know
these
that to
things,
approach
or we
the
can't
members and say-
approach.
But if a vendor, if I'm going to Rita's Ice and say, listen, how would you
Yeah.
like to participate in this thing?
You
And they
want
say,
to know.
who else is gonna be there?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I understand, and that's the problem we're dealing with, that's where you have to be a little bit creative when you're talking to them. And say, this is this is the first event our city's hosting, okay? And you can say, my chairman's used you for several other school events, and I have used them.
Yeah, no, I just would like a list so I'm familiar with myself, you know, who's coming.
Well, okay, so then that's where you could say, the fire department's coming, we're gonna have inflatables, we have music that's gonna be there for the 4 hours.
So
Those
you've
are-
already contacted the.
Do we have
The
any-
music's locked in for 4
Oh,
hours.
that's
So we
locked in.
have
Who's
that.
doing that?
And we have the inflatables locked in.
Messimos, huh?
Inflatables?
The inflatables, we have to get sponsorship. Again, I couldn't
Okay.
do that until we got money, until the council approved. That's my problem. That was my holdup. So, when I I have a sponsor out there who's willing to give us money, okay? But I had to have this paper, and I had to have the council's approval before I
Okay,
could do it.
so the sponsors come through this category and then the money goes back to buying,
Whatever we need
inflatables or whatever.
to make it happen, and the inflatables, right, the food.
and that's a list of all the activities there,
No, this is actually.
partial list.
This is a list of the things that we will need to purchase, this right here, to make the event happen,
Okay,
okay?
and, okay.
And you have a copy of the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or-
You wanna
So I got a copy of the minutes.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, is there a couple, okay, 'cause I-
You have this?
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's,
I,
Let me see if I have an extra
if
one.
it was
That
sent to
from
us
June 6th.
electronically,
Here
I
was
have
only
it.
two
Was it sent? I
pages.
think it was.
minutes
I think Patty sent it.
It was electronic.
Yeah, so I can get it.
from Patty.
What, I'm just
I
old fashioned, I
will-
guess, but I'd like to see a spreadsheet.
I will, I'm
Of
writing
everything
that
that we
down
need to
and
do.
it'll- yes,
Done, not done, need a sponsor.
yes, I'm writing it down. And,
This-
and I thought she did, and I apologize, but I'm not allowed to,
Yeah.
because of the law, I'm not allowed to, sometimes I see who she sent it to, and sometimes I don't, but
So is the Fall Festival September 21 or 28?
28th, the
Because
28th.
here it says 21.
What
That's
we changed, we did a vote on it to make it the 28th, because the group who's willing to do it for 4
Okay,
hours,
that's
a
fine.
solid 4 hours.
September 28 works
28th,
for me better
correct.
too.
And we did an online vote for that.
I'm going to try to, for our next meeting, make a spreadsheet of the stuff I find in that email that I got from Patty. A list of things that we need to do. And we're looking for the funding for it. Needs funding or free or donated or, just so I know
Okay.
what we're doing.
Okay, well, the other thing we need to talk about is, if you would like, can you create a form for volunteers, a sign-up form for volunteers? And then we actually will try to distribute that maybe with, some of the information on how to sign up to volunteer through his email as well. I think that would be a good thing for us to approach. We're allowed to take our board meeting to the road if we need to look at where we're gonna set up everything, and I recommend that. So we have copies of this, okay? And I wanna make sure everybody gets a copy of this, so everybody take one and pass it out. What we're gonna need to do is create kind of a vendor setup, okay? So
definitely.
we're going to place them, strategically place them. Now, if we're going to be collecting money of any sort, I'm actually gonna set up the sheriff next to that. It makes sense. So they're gonna be standing there doing, passing out their flyers or whatever, the sheriff will be set up right next to wherever we're collecting money at. Okay, so that one, we're gonna kinda leave as an opening.
Where exactly?
Well, I'm thinking, here's,
Where's the
the
entrance?
music is actually, is everybody familiar with City Hall here?
Yeah.
How it has that back balcony area
ledge
back here?
area.
Yeah.
With the little bit of
Yeah,
benches at the
yeah,
garden club?
that's good.
Okay, so that's actually where the band will be.
Great.
Okay.
There's 3 outlets, okay, that's where they're gonna be plugged in at. Okay, should we get enough money, I would like to get that big tent and the concrete round area out there would be set up with
Oh,
tables and
yeah,
chairs
The
where they can
heliport.
listen to music and sit down and eat.
That'd be nice, that'd be great.
Yes,
That's a nice idea.
and then,
It's a great venue for a party with the water there and.
exactly,
yeah, it's
exactly.
beautiful.
And-
Have you,
And then
have
the
you any
big
idea
park
what?
there with the monkey bars and everything. the
Yeah,
children running
yeah.
around, the parents are drinking
Yeah.
beer, so.
And the fire truck is actually going, if you all can see this, the fire truck will be right here at the end of
By
the
the
street.
tennis court.
Right at the end of the street,
Yeah.
because they will have to be able
Right.
to go out on a call,
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay?
right,
So they will actually be the vehicle blocking the street
right,
across, but it's so they can pull out.
right.
Is he bringing you the antique or the?
He's bringing both.
Oh, he is,
So we're
okay.
gonna get an
Nice.
antique one and then the regular fire truck, and he's bringing
Nice.
hats and
1940s.
stickers for the
Oh,
kids,
neat.
fire hats
Kids
and
will love
stuff.
climbing all
That's
over that
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, and then they're gonna do blood pressure checks and things like that, so, which is really nice of them to do all that for us.
Don't we have a city resident who owns an old fire truck? Remember, do you remember that guy, he's a former tennis player, he came with an old antique fire truck during one of the garage sales?
Well, here's the thing, that's not their fire truck, the antique one. They're storing it for somebody, but the person lets them use it in parades and different things. So it might be the same one and the same,
Okay,
but they store it over there because they actually have an extra garage space. So,
yeah,
yeah, that might be it, but, so I would have like the fire truck here, okay? And then I was thinking, we wanna probably try to keep anything dealing with money, of course, up here closer to City Hall,
yeah,
okay?
right,
And then, of course, have whatever the sheriff's table right by it, okay? But,
Oh, right,
but this, we, as long as we take minutes, we can actually take our board meeting out there, as long as we do minutes. We can just go out there and do the layout, so that will have to occur. And if we don't get it done at the next board meeting, we'll have to probably do a special meeting just to get that worked out, because, these vendors, they like to know where they're gonna be placed. And
Absolutely.
because of our limitations on help, we will need to have that in
Well,
place ahead of time
And
and take.
space.
And,
We don't have a lot of space.
we don't have a lot of space. We do not. Like the sheriff says, well, I usually
Yeah.
try to have my vehicle this way and then have my table in front. I said, we don't have the luxury of that. You'll have to have your sheriff vehicle
Yeah.
in a spot, in a parking spot, and then you put your table in front of it. And they're, of course, they're okay with that, so. But yeah, because we're limited. We didn't, like I said, we didn't come up here. And next time we will, but it just doesn't make sense for us to try to spread out until we get the word out about doing this festival. Just try to keep contained as much as possible.
are we
I
going to
talked-
have extra parking across Gulf Boulevard to that beach parking area?
Well-
It's right there.
Well, here's the thing, I don't recommend that we do anything that's gonna cross any main roads. I get all these side streets, all these cul-de-sacs, there's gonna be parking.
Oh,
There's gonna be parking on 9th, 8th, and 7th, you do the walk-through easement to come through,
right,
okay? But, it's all gonna be parking on one side of the street or other. It's not gonna be both sides of the street,
Right.
because We have to get vehicles in and out, our streets are very narrow.
Where will
We're
they-
gonna have the Pinellas County Sheriff to assist with that.
I've actually reached out to the Explorers
Oh, good idea.
and tried to see if I can get them,
That'd be
so
awesome.
they said that they thought that they might be out of town, so I've actually reached out to some of the Boy Scout troops to see if they could, to help with that.
Okay.
And to help with parking, they do it all the time,
They
so.
do, they do.
But there's a beach park right directly across the street, right here. There's, you know, considerable parking.
The Sixth Street,
12th Street.
6,
Probably.
6.
13,
Is it?
13.
Just as you cross Gulf Boulevard here with the
Yeah.
traffic lights.
13th, yeah, so
I don't
13,
know, there's a Bel Air Beach, Bel Air, or Shores.
13.
13.
City parking right on the beach.
Right.
It's just there's safe crosswalks,
Yeah,
and
safe
that's extra parking there.
well, that would be up to.
Well, the residents should know where to park. I mean,
Well, if you
they
have
all
a
know
sticker,
where the
you know
beach
that
is.
you can
Oh,
park
yeah, the
over
residents
there.
can park there, yeah. I was
Yeah, the
thinking
residents can park there
yeah.
automatically.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
What about handicapped access to that?
okay. Okay,
area?
so what they would do is if there's handicap spots here, that keeps us compliant, there's handicap spots here, you come down the sidewalk, which is handicap, we have a handicap ramp sidewalk right down into the whole area, it's all completely handicap
So
accessible.
it's down the
Down the front
front
and
Yeah.
the side,
and across
All
that?
ramped.
it's all ramped.
Okay.
It's all ramped, that covers us, I actually addressed that right away.
Something you want to address with all your volunteers and all your vendors. This lot will fill up before you even get your first person to this thing, they shouldn't park here. That's where you should push them out as far away and either use our golf cart, shuttle, a car, shuttle them back and forth so that you keep this lot open for some handicap parking and like for your emergency vehicles and things like that. Because if not, you guys are the first ones here and that lot's gonna be filled. You're gonna, what do we have, 30 spots then, 35?
53.
Okay, but
53,
emergency
you'll fill it.
vehicles, here's the thing, I've already addressed this, emergency vehicles
54.
are gonna be right here by this back, at the very back, okay, so they can get out. The ambulance never goes out.
But I'm saying you don't wanna fill this lot with people who are gonna be there all day working on the booths. You make them.
No,
Right.
Drop
only
and go
2
someplace
people
else.
are going to have a science box just to get their stuff in, and then they have to move their
Right.
cars.
Keep this for your patrons,
Right,
at least some of it, yeah.
right. Right,
Which means you have to get, and let everybody know that they're gonna be someplace else, and you have to arrange
So that's the
a
only
shuttle for them.
handicap parking is right out here?
well, and then there's
And there are
some,
3,
yeah,
3.
Free spaces.
yeah,
that's required.
That's
Actually,
all it's
that's more
required.
than required.
yeah.
No, I'm just saying that's not much.
I know, but that's more than is required for that size parking lot.
I mean, we
Can you expand
actually,
it for the day, like go to 5 or something, you know?
do we have any cones? Does the city own any cones? So could we maybe make 2 more spots handicap for the day and?
Yeah, it's, that's.
I'm just saying, my wife's in a wheelchair and if I wanna bring her, I have to plan out every place I go.
Sure.
Well, I understand, I totally understand, we definitely wanna be,
But you can still park in any spot if, as long as it's accessible to get.
To a ramp.
Yeah,
otherwise
there's a
I-
ramp back there and there's a ramp here,
Yeah, well, that's what I was
yeah.
asking.
There's no stairs on this. This is all ramp.
Yeah.
The whole thing is ramp, so you should be able to get anything. It's just that you might be further away in the lot than the regular handicap spots. But you could add a couple handicap spots if you want, you know. I mean, when we go to Jazz Festival, they use the whole lot as handicap, but they got 20,000 people, so, you know.
Big difference.
Yeah, but we wanna keep, it's balanced, cause
Yeah.
right, right.
I don't know what we do.
We could designate a couple more spots, so let's make a note that to designate 2 more spots. Handicap.
And do something to shuttle. If you're gonna put people in.
I like that idea.
Volunteers, you're gonna have to shuttle them, you know, just, it's just a car. I mean, I don't, you know, somebody who has a big car, an SUV, just, okay, will run you back and forth, but.
Or a golf cart.
A golf cart, yeah. We have a 4-wheel drive, but that's only 2 people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot.
If the golf cart is
Maybe
inflated,
a
you
golf
can't
cart
use.
vendor
Oh, really?
could,
You can call Jody.
you know, maybe one of these golf cart sales.
Jody, you have a
places
golf
can,
cart?
It's gotta be plated.
Can,
Yeah, it is plated. Jody's just plated.
Huh?
My neighbor
I'll reach
has-
out to
is there a golf cart sales place on Elmerton, like maybe we can
Actually,
approach
to
one of
be
those
honest with
vendors
you,
to,
one of our, somebody in our community owns I think it's the next one up with all the golf carts and everything, they're a resident.
I heard
And
that,
Now, where
they
you
own
guys live,
I heard that.
And then
They
they
have a
own
golf cart.
sales,
My neighbor has
because
one of
they,
those, looks like a
Yeah.
golf cart, but has
you know, we'd like to
three rows
bring.
of seats and
Yeah.
a canopy on top.
I think Steve Marsh
Yeah.
knows.
Has a plate on it,
I'll ask.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
it's
yeah.
like,
I
could
think
use it.
Steve
Because
Marsh-
If he would
we'd
let
like to
us
highlight their
borrow
business,
their-
you know,
he
and
would run
not
it, people back and
sponsor it.
forth.
and,
I talked to her
You know,
about
maybe we can turn our community into a
the
golf cart
festival,
friendly
and
community.
they seem
and
really
Oh, I-
excited.
and
They have
they
two
could
young
be
kids
the,
too.
I would love that.
catalyst for that.
It's only for a couple hours.
And that might be something they'd
Yeah.
wanna do to
You just have to run them in the morning.
people in our community
But
to
that's okay.
buy those golf
Maybe I can
carts.
get 'em to
and,
come down
you know,
here in that thing.
promote
we have.
our- Because Indian Rocks Beach is a golf cart friendly community.
Yeah.
And the two linked together, we could,
pathway.
you know,
The difference
eliminate
is
cars and just,
We are golf cart friendly,
Yeah,
but
well,
it's street
you
legal.
got a house.
well, that's what I'm saying, that's not really golf cart friendly.
But they're not street legal and I.
Indian Rocks
yeah.
Beach is golf cart friendly because they don't have to be
Can't
street
take
legal,
them.
therefore,
But you can't take them on Golf Boulevard.
no, no, but, I mean, there's a,
Yeah, there's so many ins
you
and
know, there's
outs
so
out
many ins
there.
and outs.
Yeah, we don't have that luxury though, but see, they have more
20
back
miles
roads
an
and
hour
things like that, they can get
Golf
away with it.
Well, Powder Beach is all connected, I mean, from,
No,
except for the 16 through 18, or 12 through 18, after that, it's
Not-
connected all the way to Sand Key.
to Sand Key,
Yeah.
not down here.
Not to Indian Rocks Beach, no,
No.
no. But
So
you
we
could sneak
good
a
with Fall
few
Festival?
blocks and move back. and be
Okay,
done.
okay, so
Is that a
is
couple
there,
others?
is there anything else that anybody can think of in reference to the fall festival? That we have missed or that we need to address?
I'm
At
gonna
this point.
kind of revisit what he was saying as far as, all the different items that are on the list. Do you wanna delegate each one of us to try and see what we can do about this? Or do you know where we're gonna get all these items now that we have the funding?
Well, remember I worked that all up, this was all Sam's Club.
Okay,
Remember I gave you the cost of all those things?
yes, yes.
And so those were all the prices from Sam's Club, and I spoke to the city manager, and he said he could just call in with the card,
Oh,
make an
Okay,
order,
so
and
that's
then we just
definitely-
pick up
okay.
the items from Sam's Club.
okay.
All
But
right.
that being said though, I do have somebody that I'm gonna reach out to that owns a restaurant, if I can get them to get all these things when it comes to even the paper products, and they donate them and do that in-kind thing. I'm hoping to do that, and then we won't even have to deal with it.
I'll reach out to Krabby Bill's also unless somebody else already has.
Oh, yeah, no, please.
They're very good in, you know, supporting Indian Rocks Beach and,
Yeah.
and I know the owner is a personal friend too, so.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So-
And they're big supporters of the fire department too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Matt's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
Matt Loader, yeah.
yeah, so, yeah, if he would be, including ice though. Okay, ice is,
Ice.
I don't think ice is
Ice?
on this list.
Okay.
Oh, it is on this list, yes, okay. So yes,
the ice goes in.
I don't, yes, that is on this list
You're
too,
going in
yes. Yes. So, yeah,
Senior member
What
of
about
council.
now that we have the money, do you have a vendor for
I
the,
nominate you.
bounce houses and the?
I have
the
two
birthday?
different people
Okay.
that use, there's one that the school system of Pinellas County uses, and there's one that the Pasco County system uses. I have to see how we are with money first to find out, but they're both clear for those days. Actually, they're both clear for the month of September, so we're good with both of them, which was really, really nice. But if they're school board approved vendors, then they've got to be licensed and insured. But that just gave me a quick heads up that they are licensed and insured. So then we just need to get all the contract and copies of those things for the city manager to look at. But I just got the letter last night in all honesty, okay? And you know, he's, the city manager's been working diligently on this, yeah, we gotta try to cut him some slack here, guys. He's been working hard on this budget, okay? So,
No slack for you, and no drone for you.
so I just got this, honest to God, we just met yesterday afternoon, okay? And I went through and started critiquing it last night, okay, and working on it today with him, so that's what the, kind of the holdup has been, because the city had to come first before our events, to be honest with you,
Right,
so.
yeah.
He's had to work on city business, so that's in a nutshell, that's what kind of the holdup has been. He was gonna try to have it to me over a week ago and they've had a snag, so.
I think come the 1st of August, we'll have a much better idea, and I think we'll.
Yes.
Right,
A lot of
and
these things that I'm.
You already have that entertainment.
That's right. I'm gonna make a list and check off. Yeah.
So I'm gonna write that as far as what's already taken care of. 'Cause I wrote
I'm gonna make a
down
motion.
things that we've already-
well, no, we aren't gonna adjourn yet. We're not gonna
I'm gonna
adjourn.
make a motion soon.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to address was how about a 50-50? We didn't address that. Would you all be open to doing a 50-50?
What's a 50-50?
You know.
That's
you-
my age, 50 and
Raffle?
50.
Yeah, raffle, 50-50
I
raffle.
don't think you need a license. We have to check.
I don't think so.
For charities, you don't have to, but you better check it with the state.
Okay, I will check it first, but is this board open to it if we decide to do one?
They do it in Indian Rocks,
If-
that
if-
thing. They do it
They
every year.
they do
Yeah,
it.
but that's a charity.
Right,
They're a
right,
501c3.
right. See, we're doing it for the city, so
I don't
it's
think
I don't
have a
know.
preference.
a good question.
Okay.
Check
All
with
right,
the state.
the other thing, then, I will check into it. Let's table that part until then, and then we'll
Yeah.
revisit that.
Find out if that's
The-
even an option, yeah.
Okay. The other thing, somebody sent to me a thing that we should also reach out to the former mayors and council people and see if they'd be willing to hop in that dunk tank as well. And have a contest.
They're already lining up to throw bolts at.
I was actually kidding.
And then,
Are you
you
really
noticed
going
how
to
I
do
looked
that?
over to
That was
Lynn,
brought
because he's a
up.
former
For a while,
mayor.
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Wow.
And one of our other council, Robin Aki will do it too. So-
Yeah.
And Mark's gonna do it, he just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, Mark.
That's
As
great.
long as Lynn does it.
Lynn will do it.
And I do have a
Well, I'll
commitment from
definitely
a former
be
mayor.
Maybe
paying the bills to try to get
You
you.
need an armored car for all the money.
I want warm water, not ice.
That's what Krabby Built is for.
Right.
Fire truck, emergency management, Sunstar, musicians already booked.
And the sheriff department K-9 unit,
Okay.
and then, of course, the sheriff department, so it's two separate things.
Okay.
And then the third one would be their, what do they call that, armored car?
Yeah, they're, yeah.
Whatever it is,
Their
the
assault
tank, just call it
vehicle,
the
yeah.
tank, the sheriff's
They
tank
got a
is
little
coming.
bitty
They're
tank.
They wanted to give me
All the
two,
kids would love
and I'm
that.
like, I don't really
Oh.
have space for two right
Uh-huh.
now. Next time I said, but this time I don't have space for two, so we have one.
How about police dog
The
kids? love
karate,
the
no, we
dogs.
did not, but I don't know that we're gonna have time to put a karate demonstration, because the K-9 thing is for about 25 minutes, and then you have all the music, yeah.
That's like in a
Are
different
you making a
section.
list of what's not included?
I'm
Are
sorry.
you making a list of what is
I
not
am, I'm just-
included on that list?
I'm making a list right now of what we've already accomplished, what's already been booked. So far, we have the fire truck that's booked, the emergency management's been booked, the Sunstar robe with the robot, musicians have already been booked, the sheriff department and the K-9 department have been booked with the
That's
sheriff
great.
tank. So this has already been taken care of. Is there
That's
anything else that I
great.
haven't mentioned?
Can you,
Emergency management.
Emergency management, oh, I already wrote that.
And I think you said the sailing center, or are you going to approach them?
No, not the sailing center, the Coast Guard,
Oh, okay.
US Coast Guard. I've already emailed them. I don't
The-
know.
The sailing center might be another
CERT
vendor
team
to,
on there?
that would be
Yeah,
nice
CERT
to
team,
approach, because
SERT.
they teach,
What is that?
you know, catamaran and sunfish.
Yeah, right off
that's
Key
it.
there.
Yeah, right
The
there.
fire
And
department.
they may want a booth, you know,
Oh,
to try to
Springfield,
promote
yeah,
their
'cause that I can
business
say
to
we're
local
beyond.
I
residents.
mentioned,
Okay.
June, you mentioned the
Commissioner
Coast
Moore.
Guard, what about the Coast Guard Auxiliary?
That's what I'm talking,
Yeah.
they gave me the number. I called Sand Key, and the guy got back to me within a couple hours and said, here's the guy
They
you
have
need to
one of the
call.
instructors.
I'll approach the sailing center,
It's right on
because my daughter took sailing lessons.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
June,
Okay,
is
The
she
Coast
just
Guard, just so you know.
duplicating what's already
I was
been,
mentioning more,
in the last
they did that
minutes,
tribute in
minutes.
Washington, military thing.
Oh,
They were the
just
first,
new stuff.
Clearwater Coast
In the
Guard was
last
the
minute,
first
or-
helicopter that went over with it, when he announced the
He's just
Coast
writing
Guard.
down.
He said,
I'll tell you
What
what,
minutes?
Coast
do you
Guard.
have your cell phone with
So
you?
they're probably, were a little
Yes.
tied up with that, so
Okay.
you call
because
Leisure
we're in
out.
here, you
Leisure
can
shop,
take a picture of
They were
those
big time
minutes.
on that. They were first group. so
Can we-
That's pretty neat.
And then you'll have a copy.
But
She can also send it
Oh,
to
you're,
all of us.
okay.
I want you to keep
Are you
that
talking about what I'm
design.
writing down now?
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, so I'm
included.
gonna organize it, I'm gonna type
And then
up
I
the
need
minute,
contact
type this up,
numbers.
she's
Oh, wow.
gonna
Board
mess, I'm gonna
meetings.
type it all
Okay.
up,
And
write the
you
minutes for
allow-
this
Right, they can
meeting.
contact me, but
And
then
then I
they can't
send
contact
it
you
to,
back
as
once
a
they
PDF
contact me.
file, I
So
send
you
it
can give them my
to,
contact information,
Patty.
that's allowed.
Can
And
you
then
say,
Patty's-
as
Like,
Patty,
like when I
Patty's
go to
will send
Town
it to you.
Center or the
Right.
Yacht Club or a
So-
Cotton
Yeah.
Club.
Yeah.
I guess
give
I'll
them
write a
your
note, but she
contact
never
Right.
sent
So I
me the
need your
last
contact
minutes, right, is that
information.
correct? From the last meeting?
yeah, I think she,
Here.
I think she did,
send them?
yeah.
Okay. So she should send me the, I
It was
have
on a
to,
PDF.
it's a mess right now, I have to like,
Anybody else
I have
Huh?
to
board?
Yeah, I'm
gather.
just interested
You
in
can't
the list
contact
of
anybody else
events.
from the board
Okay.
now, but you
What's
can have
been
them
done, what's
contact me, but I
need to
can't
be
let
done.
them
So I
contact you
like
back.
having a list of what
afterwards.
we all have to do.
You can give them my information
What's
and
already been
contact me,
accomplished,
Okay,
and
that's it.
then,
Okay.
right?
there's, everything else that has to be done, because we don't
Okay.
have the money, now that we have
No, that's
the
fine, that's
approval.
fine, I just,
Yeah.
I'd like, you know, it'd be nice if everybody has that piece of paper in front of them and
And this
say,
is-
this
I
box
think
is
it's gonna be a great
checked.
party.
We
I
need
think
to
so
do
too.
something.
It's gonna be good.
Here's something
Yeah,
else
I have
I
10 days to do
recommend.
this, so hopefully I'll get it done this weekend and I can send it out on Monday.
You know, another
We'll get it.
good vendor
Hopefully by
would be
the
that
beginning of
Sunray
next
Marine
week.
on Almerton. They'd like
Okay.
to sell boats here
Chris,
too.
and
I bought a
let's-
boat from them.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah,
So
but
did I.
you
And they're
have
always having a
space, they always
party.
try to
Last
bring the
time's
big, the
minutes, I
bad,
only
and
got-
They'll bring a small
Very
affordable
recently.
boat.
was it?
I'll have them
You
bring
did
it.
the whole thing?
No,
You
the
know, on a
minutes from the
trailer.
last
Kids
meeting.
love climbing on a boat, saying, "Daddy, Daddy, I want a boat." You know,
Came
and
last week
gives
or
them
something.
incentive
They-
to want
I
to
think
come
she
here
held
because
it for-
it's a
Oh,
sale.
maybe.
I mean,
Until-
every Sunday they
Well, I
host
have 10
music
days
and.
Do you
to
know the
complete
owner down
this,
there?
so.
I met him. I don't know him personally, but
Took me like,
change
because I had to
hands.
have it being new
Okay.
to this
I
position.
I mean, I just bought
I
a
had
boat
to
last month.
Change
A
a couple
23-foot
things that were appropriate, so
Seafoam.
it probably may have taken a
We'll
bit
talk
longer.
after.
So-
to
so-
kinda
so
get
I-
it,
you
so I
know,
had to reach it, but now that I know what I'm doing, I'm
Con-
hoping it will work and I can do
Yeah.
Alright.
it correctly. So you should hopefully
Contact.
get it by next week, beginning of next week,
Great,
okay?
super.
So now, we're okay approaching these vendors, right?
You have
now
that
we have-
form, you have that form, the only thing of it is
Well,
on the bottom, it doesn't say all checks need to be made
I'll
payable.
get Patty to send you a correct.
Okay, so we're gonna have a corrected one sent to you and we'll try to get, we can
But
probably get that out tomorrow, right?
for
You
people
just
like
ask
me-
Addison.
like the ice cream, things like that, we're not asking them to sponsor, we're just asking them to come. I'm in my authority to say, would you be willing to come? We're just asking for a $50 donation and anything else you make is your profit, right?
And
Well, the
coupons.
ice
Plus
cream-
gift cards.
Gift certificates.
Okay, am I on
Yeah.
firm ground to do that? Am I contracting for the city by doing that? Am I okay with that? You're on.
I think you
Seems
give
like-
the
You gotta take
contact
that
number to June and then she
Contract's gotta come
takes it
to
from
the
there.
And this
He
contract
said if you're
does
You
interested
come.
can make the
Call
connection, then
So-
give it over to Lynn for finalization.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
So it's
right.
okay to
Got
solicit, or
We
you
get
can
to
call us
contact
now.
I can
people.
inquire, get the right
And-
information.
What
yeah,
contracts they
right,
have,
right, yeah.
telephone
We don't need
numbers.
anything to go
Makes
to
sense.
council, right?
Okay.
We don't need to approve any of these, right? That's all within your domain, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we can send it directly to Lynn, we don't have to come back through this.
Right,
Right.
or you can,
He's-
if
he's
they need
safe.
to, the contact
He's
person,
safe
they can
ground.
reach out directly to me, but
Well, I
they
don't
can
know
reach
about
back
that.
out to you. That's the problem. So if you need them to find out something from me, you could give them my contact information, but they can't contact you back once they've done that. That would be Bridget.
Or if you're retired.
You see what I'm saying?
No, say that again.
Okay.
No, no, no.
So I go and I talk to them about, we're having this function, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you're interested, then I'm gonna give you the name of the city manager of Bel Air Beach to come.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can give them my information, but I can't let them contact you back once they do that. They would have to go back to
But
you
why would
or
I
go
give
back
them
to
your,
me.
your,
Well, I'm saying if they had more questions, is what I'm saying,
Okay,
I'm saying,
okay.
yes.
We can give it to you, and the best way to have them reach you is which email is it,
The June for mayor,
okay.
yeah.
okay.
And what
Okay,
about
and
you,
now
Lynn?
the
What's
other thing,
best way?
one more thing that we did not address, sometimes when you go to these people and you try to get, and we did talk about gift certificates and gift cards and things like that, but make sure that when you receive one, a gift card or a gift certificate or something like that, you make a note of it, you send an email out, you make some kind of note of it, some kind of documentation in reference to it, okay, and then you turn it over, okay? So, like with the trophies, they were given to me personally, that I got for these events, okay? Then I, in fact, turned and donated them to the city. The city Okay, I sent an email to him and he gave me a receipt showing that he received them. So that way we have a trail. So everything should have a trail. We have to keep a trail of all things, because otherwise this will all just fall between the cracks. We can have a problem and we will never have another event. So because sometimes when you go to these vendors, they don't have cash, or they might want to give you part and part, so, like, I've gone to Winn-Dixie before to get donations, and Winn-Dixie wants to give you a gift card. Well, that becomes the property of the city. So again, keeping the paper trail, we have to say, okay, you gave me a $50 gift card, I have to have a paper trail for that. That being said, the other thing we need to do is, I actually created a city email. If anybody wanted to come in and you wrote, say for instance, George wrote me an email, and I'm not the chairman, we're not on the same board, but George wrote me an email. It references something to do with the city, okay? If Joe Schmo came up off the street and wanted a copy of that email, they could get it. So I highly recommend that everybody on this board create a separate email just for dealing with anything with the city, anything, whether it's getting the agendas or anything like that, because otherwise you're giving me access to your personal emails away, so.
Well, you're not, but you're gonna have to wade through it all and pick
You'll
up
have to
what's
wade
personal
through it
and what's
all,
not,
and then they could try to question it, and
easier
was
just to
this a
have one
personal
dedicated.
thing, or was this
Yeah.
a business thing? So I highly recommend you just create a separate email for the city, but make sure when you do that, you notify the city clerk so she can change it on her rolls. I just can't stress enough how important that is. Okay, any other business?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I have one more thing. As the,
Do I hear a second?
I was trying to open to everybody else
She denied
first.
it.
I denied it.
I actually have a question for
Yeah.
Lynn, but how
Okay.
might I have someone reach you? What's the best way to contact you? Through your city email address too, or phone, to call
Either or.
here? Okay,
Email's probably better.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
For a while.
that being said, the Park and Rec Board, part of our thing is we're allowed to get events into the city hall, to help the city generate money, okay? And so that being said, I sat down and I spoke with, I'll just let you pass these out, with Lynn, and we can promote the city hall for different events, okay? So when you're out of businesses, ask them if we can put a stack of these, to pass out, The contact information is on here. We do not make any quotes of prices at all. We can talk up how beautiful our hall is, you get to overlook the water,
Yeah,
okay? But the contact information is on here. They will contact the city, there's an email, a phone number, and a name. But, we need to start trying to do our part on trying to get the hall rented here and help promote it. And I've already reached out to 2 businesses, I was actually waiting for this, that have agreed to let me put stacks in their stores. I'm hoping that everybody else will do the same as well, so.
I'll keep this in my office too. A lot of people would be interested in that.
Okay, and if you need any more, we'll just reach out to the city manager and he will be happy to give us some. So that being said, the next meeting is when?
August 1st.
First of August.
Great. If there's no objections?
No, I do have a couple
Okay.
items, and I'm gonna ask that, in the interest of time, that these be put on the agenda for
Okay,
next meeting. First has to do with the terms of appointments
okay,
and the status of number of members on the board. Because I've seen nothing in the ordinance about alternate members, and I don't wanna start that conversation tonight, it's not that important, but I would like to know really who was appointed to what period of time, and again, there's nothing here about alternates, it just says there should be 5 people on the board, and 3 is a quorum. So I don't know why we'd be referring to Burke, and who would be the other one? I guess, I don't know if it was me or George as alternate members, although I was voted by the council as
so
a permanent
you're a
member.
permanent member now.
So who are the,
I'm the alternate.
George
Who's
I
the
thought was a
alternate?
permanent.
No,
So there's only
George is
one
permanent.
alternate. But anyway, we don't need to go into that tonight. The other thing, make sure we have a follow-up on the Bel Air Beach Civic Association to see if we can locate where that money went.
Okay.
All right.
And lastly, there's a
Well, I already
lot-
have that on here.
Okay, and lastly, there's a lot in the previous meetings having to do with the Bayside Park grant, and I'm wondering if we ever got that money, is that something we need to
Still waiting on that.
readdress?
There's nothing we can do about
But it's been
that.
submitted?
Yep.
Oh, okay, so.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do until we hear
Because
back
quite a
from
bit of
them.
work was done in the past about the type of things they wanted to use that money for, but the grant's been submitted for, we're just waiting, okay. Well, then that answers that question.
Once if you get to that grant, then you have to come before council, and then that's where you guys kick in, because it's how much money you want to spend
Okay,
of
because it
that.
never said, it just said we needed to submit for
Yep.
it, so, okay, good.
Yeah.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
We're just getting
All
there.
right.